This is a Dragon Blazer production, and I am the little boogeyman.
All right.
Friendship that'll never ever end.
Okay. Lost a great one this week.
Touching but somber way to start the show. Yeah, this was a shock to a lot of us, I think. And more information has came out about the passing of Wyndham Rotunda, aka Bray Wyatt, and all this time since the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, he had disappeared, and they kept saying he was battling an illness. I kind of feel bad because a couple of times I was like, I don't think he's sick. This is all a creative dispute. But to be fair, that's some of the stuff I read. But come to find out, Bray got COVID, which either brought on or revealed that he had heart issues that he didn't know about. He got through the COVID, and then the more info that came out was that Bray had laid down for a nap and never woke up. But but it also stated that his doctors had issued him a external defibrillator that he was supposed to wear when he was taking naps and such, and he did not have that on. So, it's a tragedy. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family. It's a very sad thing. I guess we can all be thankful that he went in his sleep, that he got to go peacefully. But Bray leaves behind a wife and 4 children. And to me, he was a very creative guy. And I wish that The Fiend would have never got destroyed, because to me, The Fiend was probably the greatest character since The Undertaker. And I even liked the original Wyatt. I mean, I even loved the Wyatt family right from the get-go. Even
I
the
liked
original
the Wyatt family a lot,
Yeah.
actually.
That old cult,
the
old cult thing I thought was great stuff. Everything he did was great. And yeah, it's just only 36 years old, And
So, as wrestling fans, this was a tough one. Wyatt was, especially the Fiend, and I've liked all of his characters. I liked his comeback.
with
I
Uncle
thought they were
Howdy
going
and
too
all that.
slow for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that Shattered theme song is just fantastic.
Yeah.
But the Fiend is one of my favorite current characters.
Yeah. And I mean, even having the both sides of it, and as silly as people can think, well, like the Firefly Funhouse was great stuff. I loved having, normal Bray and the Fiend. I actually just saw someone shared the video on TikTok of when he revealed the Fiend title on the Firefly Funhouse, and he's sitting there holding the Universal title, and he said, I only think it's fair that if I have one, he has one. And then they just shoot to the Fiend with that custom title, wrapped around his neck. Great stuff. And even though I thought the design of that title was a little weird, it still worked for the character, and was definitely probably the most extreme they've ever went to customize a championship for a character. Unfortunately, money, the business of the business got in the way, and they buried the Fiend, not once but twice. Once when they let Goldberg squash him, and then that whole WrestleMania thing with Randy Orton and Jack in the Box, and then we never saw him again. Unfortunately, and even Bray itself, when he came back, even he said before he even came back, the Fiend's dead, and we will not see the Fiend again because they killed my character, which is unfortunate. But
he should have never lost. The Fiend should have never lost. I would have even been okay with him never winning the title, so he could just be this dominant force.
Yeah, and that's what should have happened.
He didn't need
a title. Nope.
The character was so good.
He could have had it eventually. I think they did it too fast. And then they booked themselves into a corner,
I'm not saying I have a problem with him having the title. I'm saying that he didn't need it.
No, he didn't.
He didn't need it. What he needed more than the title was for his character to be dominant. For his character, I didn't want no clean wins. Losing to Goldberg is to me, is shameful. You know how I feel about Goldberg. We're just gonna blame Vince McMahon because fuck Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
I need someone to blame, so that's who gets the blame. And
to be honest, I don't.
To a nicer guy.
You know what? I don't think you're wrong to blame McMahon, because Goldberg came out himself and said that. Now he claims, a lot of people are saying Goldberg didn't want to lose, but Goldberg actually said he didn't. He was expecting to lose to the Fiend in that match, and it got changed at the last minute. So more than likely, it is Vince we need to blame.
Well, Vince didn't. I mean, I've heard rumors that Vince didn't like
the Fiend.
Yeah.
Goldberg legit said that he did. He going into that match, even up to that day, he thought he was losing that match. And then it got changed at the last minute because people want to blame Goldberg. I'm not the biggest Goldberg fan either, but I'm telling you folks, Goldberg planned on losing that match.
I'm not blaming Goldberg either. I'm blaming Vince McMahon.
So neither one of us
very clear.
Yeah.
Very clear who I'm blaming.
I'm just saying there was a lot of fans that thought that Goldberg just didn't want to do the job, and that's not true at all. It was all just at the end of the day, it was about that money from Saudi and about WrestleMania ahead, blah, 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 blah. And the Fiends ends up getting buried.
Yeah, I mean, you had one of the best characters, one of the best current wrestlers.
It goes back to booking 101. You knew you wanted to do Goldberg and Brock, but they didn't have to have the title. Again, that's a match that didn't have to have a championship. People wouldn't have cared. It was Goldberg versus Brock. You didn't have to take the belt off the Fiend. But anyway, that's that is in This Is Now. But yeah, it was just a shocking thing. And you actually messaged me about. I was at work. Now normally I would have saw something like this right away, but I was working. And when you sent that message, I was actually outside, and I'm like, what? What? Wow, are you serious?
Yeah, I was with my brother, and my brother is the one that broke the news to me. Yeah. We were dealing with some other issues that I don't like to really get too personal about. So we were dealing with other issues, which kind of trumps, wrestling.
Yes, exactly.
But as a wrestling fan, this one hit hard.
Yeah, and I will say, because I know they didn't have to do it. I think it's. I'm glad that the WWE. I don't know if you saw it, but any merchandise they have left of Bray, the proceeds are going to go to the family.
Yep.
Yes. So.
I wish I could afford to buy some stuff, but I don't even think there's stuff left. I've heard that they're already pretty much sold out of everything. So
I was going to say I'd be shocked if there was much left. I mean, even after he left, they still had a few things, but it was always hard to get a hold of his merchandise. Even when he wasn't there, it was hard to get a hold of his merchandise. He was definitely one of the top sellers. So yeah, it's a sad thing. I assume that we will all eventually get to see, because Bray did a movie in between all this time he was gone. I'm going to guess that'll still come out at some time. I don't know if they're going to wait now because of his passing before they decide to release the film. I'm not even sure what it's called, but I do know Bray did a movie while he was on his little hiatus. So I'll have to see how that goes. I was actually trying to. Let's see what happens here. I know we're very professional. I'm just checking out WWE Shop real quick. Yeah, there's only one page left of merchandise, and it's all the newer. So if you guys want to pick up, a lot of them are plaques, but they still have the Uncle Howdy mask. They got a few shirts left. It's from when he came back this time. So you have like the Uncle Howdy shirts and stuff. So there's a few left, but yeah, it's down to the one page. So yeah, there you go.
I would say before we get off of Bray Wyatt, we might as well just talk about SmackDown. I haven't watched it yet.
Me either, but I know they did.
They did a Bray Wyatt tribute.
I did watch the video of the very end of SmackDown after LA Knight and Finn had their match. And again, kudos. I'm not saying Vince. Okay, I am saying it. I don't think Vince would have rewrote the entire show for this. Would he have done the 10-bell ring salute at the beginning? Yes. But almost immediately when this happened, Triple H made it clear that plans were scrapped for current storylines and it was going to be a tribute show. And obviously the reason that LA Knight and The Miz Finn faced is because Finn was, well, technically he was the Fiend's first opponent. And of course LA Knight was Bray's last opponent.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So
I didn't even think about that.
That's why they did that. Because the Fiend had debuted at SummerSlam and his first opponent was Finn Balor. Now, they said Finn was Bray's first opponent, period, so maybe way back in NXT that might have been, that's what I read that was actually Bray's first opponent. Maybe they mean as Bray Wyatt and not the Fiend. I don't know. But the point is that's why they did that match. I loved LA Knight's promo when he looked in the camera and he said, "Miz, a wise man once said to me, the next time you see me, run." That was very cool.
I've looked into a lot of it, and I love they if I read correctly, they ended the show with his lantern in the middle of the ring.
They shut down all the lights. They started playing his music. The lantern was in the ring, and then they put that shot. I've shared it several times in my TikTok videos, but they put that shot of Bray when he did that one promo and he's standing in the ring, and that his new logo was on the screen, so you just saw Bray like staring at that moth, that upside down little, moth logo, and it spread everywhere, not just wrestling. Like there was soccer games, baseball games. There were several like professional sports that did tributes to Bray. And we got one even at All In, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But when House of Black came out for their trios tag team match, they always get the lights down for their entrances anyway, and they came out with a lantern, and you had 80,000 fireflies lit up in Wembley Stadium. So there was even a tribute from them on AEW. So, and I saw today on the internet that NXT is also going to do a tribute. So, and they did it again on Raw for both men. I mean, they mentioned it. I didn't get to see any of this yet. The only thing I did see, of course, was the lantern on SmackDown. I didn't get to see that ending. So, yeah, and on the Indies, I mean, they've been everywhere. So,
well, he was much too young.
Yeah. Just starting a family, but anyway.
I'd like to stop crying. So, do you want to start the show now?
Well, we can't stop crying because we have some other. We have to address some other people that have passed.
Well, I get that, but
you want to get off the sad thing? I'm sorry, we're resetting. Okay.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, it's sad that everybody that passed. We lost a lot of people this last couple of weeks. Yeah. I know we haven't been on here for a couple of weeks. We've both had situations. I had the situation that I was talking about. You've had a situation. We just haven't been able to get together.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start with saying sorry, guys. Hope you missed us. Yeah. It's been 2 weeks, so I wore this just for my co-host because I know how much of a Hulkamania.
Nothing cheers me up like
Hulk Hogan. I know that. That's right. So I guess we got through the sad in the video, and we'll say hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Boomer and Blaze Show. I am Boomer.
And I'm Blaze.
And there's Blaze. And now we're going to go right back to being sad again so we can talk about... Yes, unfortunately, we had a few... celebrity deaths. The other one in the wrestling world, and I don't mean it in a bad way. Love the cover art, by the way.
Thank you. Although I need to take it off again so I can get to the other ones.
The other wrestling death, and I'm not saying it's not sad. They're all sad. This one wasn't.
Here's the thing. It's not. It's all sad. Don't get me wrong, but
it's all circumstances.
All the other people are older.
Not young.
They've lived a full life.
Yep.
They weren't in the prime of their damn career.
Yes, exactly.
Cut down,
A lot of us in the world think one of them already died, but whatever, Mandela effects happen. I'm not the only one, buddy. I'm just saying.
I didn't say you were the only one.
But anyway, yes, and that is the point, because the other one in the wrestling world we lost, of course, the hardcore legend himself, Terry Funk. But here's the case again where his health has been declining and the man was 79 years old. So.
Yeah, he lived a pretty good life.
I mean, no one likes that.
Especially doing what he does, he lived a very full life,
And literally kept wrestling till he absolutely could not anymore. I'm pretty sure he was. I didn't know that. Oh, yeah. Terry Funk kept on wrestling. I would have to Google it to find out, but I believe he was around 70 when he wrestled his last match, or he was still in his 60s. Yeah, Terry Funk just kept going, and he was, and we're actually going to get to see some of it because of our new format of starting the WCW pay-per-views. We'll get to see some of that older Terry Funk stuff. Mick Foley credits Terry Funk a lot for his hardcore style.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, so. with how hardcore it is, it's kind of, when he's 79, holy shit, you had a long life.
Oh, here we go.
The roughness on your body.
So in 2017 is when Funk wrestled his last match. So he still would have been, if he died 79, do the math, whatever. He was still in his 70s. He was in his 70s when he wrestled that last match. Kept going till he could, and comes from a wrestling family. But I'll be honest, I kind of know about the other ones, but Terry's really the only Funk I'm super familiar with because of WCW, and of course he does come to the WWF eventually. But He was definitely. I didn't get to see young Terry Funk. I'm sure he might have been different when he was super young. By the time I started watching Terry Funk, he was the crazy hardcore. It didn't even have to be a hardcore match. That didn't matter. Terry Funk was gonna do what he had to do to take care of business. So
yeah, I'm more familiar with him as Chainsaw Charlie.
Yes,
because that's when he came back when he came to WWE. And we've seen Terry Funk a couple times on a podcast, but but when I saw him as, when I was younger, it was mostly Chainsaw Charlie that I knew him as.
Yeah. Which, by the way, we'll cross that road when we get there. But a lot of people I've heard and read on the internet said, "I can't believe Vince did that to him." Blah blah. Chainsaw Charlie was Terry Funk's idea. So all of you that think, why would Vince do that to him? It was literally his idea to do that character. So I just wanted to throw that out.
I mean, I enjoyed Chainsaw Charlie.
It worked, and it worked perfect with Cactus Jack. It worked. It's not like Terry Funk didn't know everybody would know who was under that mask, but he was trying to have an alter ego. I mean, if Foley could have 3 faces, why couldn't Terry Funk have another character? Right. I'm just saying. That's all it was. Because I remember at the time when it came out, even the first time I saw him, I'm not going to say I hated it, but I was like, that's Terry Funk. I knew right away because the pantyhose didn't really hide.
They didn't hide crap.
But I thought it was a great character, and I thought it worked great with him and Cactus being partners. Like, I thought it was genius. Yeah. It was good marketing. And by the way,
Actually, we're probably not super far from seeing that here soon.
No, it blew my mind when I realized we were starting 1998 today. Like, I knew that, but it'd been a couple weeks since we recorded. Like, we're getting to some good
this
stuff.
Is our first 98 pay-per-view.
By the way, Chainsaw Charlie got a figure released this year as well, so you can now get a Chainsaw Charlie. Yeah. You know, that we're getting all these crazy figures because you know as well as I do that things have changed, and not just wrestling, but pretty much there are so many toy companies now that are realizing that grown men want these toys as collectibles. Yeah. So they're making them more articulate. They're making them, better.
Boomer says as he sits in front of an entire freaking thing of collectible toys.
Yes. And not all just wrestling either. I'm just going to say.
Grown men. By grown men, I mean me.
I mean me. That's right. It's not all just wrestling either. Like, you got Cobra Commander back there and Shredder, but that's a whole nother podcast anyway. So, yeah. Speaking of that cheap plug, I actually talked to my co-host, and for those of you who do follow me on TikTok or don't, I'm actually going to start doing some videos on TikTok to show some of my collection and
that's cool.
Stuff like that. Let you see my face a little more, see if we can get a few more followers. Look, I follow a guy, and that's all he does. It's called Heel Figs, and he literally just shows off figures all the time. But mind you, this man has like an entire room in his house that's nothing but shelves full of figures, and he probably has every figure that's ever been made. So anyway.
Yeah.
And I'll start showing off some of my belts, shirts, things like that, and letting you know about episodes. But anyway, cheap plug. And so rest in peace, Terry Funk. As far as I know, he went peacefully. I don't think there was any. Obviously, it was his age and his health, but I'm pretty sure he also passed away peacefully. So he will be missed. He left a legacy on wrestling, and as far as I know, I'm not saying he's the last Funk, but I think he's the last Funk that was actually in wrestling, as far as I know. There's no I don't think they have any younger generation that got into it, or maybe they just haven't broke through yet. So all right,
we have two more
it's funny because you know so much more about I've watched a lot of cartoons too, even as an adult, but you were like an
you want to go with her next?
I guess since that's what I started doing. Sorry. It just blew my mind because
you're fine.
You know a lot. Like, you have a knowledge of animated voices like my wrestling knowledge. You know what I mean?
I don't know if it's that extent, but I do know animated voices decently.
When you told me this, the first thing I said was, oh man, that's Christopher Lloyd's wife. And
is it? Was it?
It is Christopher Lloyd's wife, and most people probably remember her. I can't remember which one right now, but she was on a soap opera forever.
Days of Our Lives, I think. Or As the World Turns, maybe.
So that's all I'm thinking.
I don't know. I don't watch soap operas.
So when I said it's Christopher Lloyd's wife, and you go, well, I don't know. All I know is that's Harley Quinn. Like,
yeah, she was the first voice of Harley Quinn.
Yeah, and I didn't know she voiced Harley Quinn. So
yeah, Arlene Sorkin. She passed away.
She did pass away. Yeah.
And unfortunately, the voice of Batman passed away like a year ago. So we lost Batman and we lost Harley, not back to back, but a year apart. I did look into it a little bit. She was dealing with some medical issues. She had stopped voice acting for a little while, but so Harley Quinn is a character, if anybody doesn't know this, Harley Quinn is a character that was created specifically for Batman the Animated Series.
Mm-hmm. Which I knew.
She actually wasn't created in comics. She was created for this show. And she wasn't meant to be what she became. She was meant to be, essentially the animators were like, we need some kind of Joker henchman that's a female. She was originally supposed to just pop out of a cake during an episode of Batman the Animated Series with Joker to trick. I think they ended up changing it and had Joker jump out of the cake. She got so popular, they made her a main character on the animated series. And she was voiced by Arlene Sorkin, who I believe was doing I forget. She was kind of parodying a 50s actress or something, I guess. I don't know as much about that. I can't remember who it was. But that was her original idea with the voice.
Yeah.
And she became iconic.
Yeah.
I mean, that animated series was fantastic.
I was just about to say, by the way, Batman the Animated Series is probably, it's not only one of the best cartoons ever, it's one of the best versions of Batman ever, in my opinion. Like,
it's great. It's fantastic.
I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 60. If you've never seen Batman the Animated Series, I'm telling you, it's one of the best things ever. Batman-wise, cartoon-wise.
Well, one thing that makes it so good is they were like, we want to take this serious. They do not. They were real specific on our bad guys are trying to kill. You know, we want them to be menacing. We want them to be true villains. Because a lot of cartoons, like, they're doing ridiculous shit and they're not actually trying to kill the people. They're doing silly capers.
Exactly.
They wanted these bad guys, Batman's Rogue Gallery, to be actual villains. They wanted them to be bad. And so, you know, not saying they actually succeed in killing a lot. I think they did kill, but they didn't want them like doing fake outs. They are trying to kill. Batman is supposed to save them before they die, but they're actually putting them in situations where, you know, they are trying to kill people.
Yeah. Which, even though as silly as the series was, by the way, though, they did that on the TV series all the time, too. I know it was over the top, but, like, there would actually be people in situations where they could die. Like, it wasn't just, you know.
That's what I meant.
Right. Even though it was slapstick, they still did that even on that, you know, on the series back then.
Right. But yeah, so, man, when we lose Mark Hamill, oh my gosh, I'm going to bawl for days. I mean, not only is because Mark Hamill obviously is Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill is also the voice of Joker. I'm sure everybody knows that. He is the iconic, he is my favorite voice of Joker, and that includes live action. And I love Dark Knight. You know, I love that portrayal of Joker. Mark Hamill is the definitive voice of Joker for me, and always will be. It's insane that Luke Skywalker is the definitive voice of Joker.
Right.
It's the world we live in. It's the world we live in,
baby. Yes, sir.
All right.
The next one. So the next one is what I was saying was, you know, for some of us feels like a Mandela effect because a lot of people thought this already happened, but apparently not. It's fine. But anyway, we lost somebody that was part of all of our childhoods, I'm sure, Mr. Bob Barker.
All right.
And even though it might have been, I'm going to quote this tweet I saw, even though I think they put it up a little too soon, but a guy actually tweeted out to some effect, look at my boy, got as close to $1 without going over as he could.
I've seen that everywhere.
Something, it's everywhere, but...
Bob Barker, come on down!
Yeah, come on down. And now they are going to be actually doing a tribute show, but I'm not the only person in the world that seems to think he died a couple years ago. But they're also now, they're trying to say now that people just got confused because what did happen a couple years ago is he had a real bad fall and stuff, And maybe a lot of us just thought he died and he didn't. Maybe that's what happened.
I mean, he was 99.
But he's 99. Does it really matter if he died twice? More power to him. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
he lived a long
he lived
life.
a long, successful life, and I'm glad that he, because I believe he was like 70 when he stepped away. So I mean, I know that's old, but I'm glad that he had time to live life after The Price is Right.
He got to retire.
You know, I don't think people realize that this is actually more work than movie acting, because you're doing this. They shoot more
weekly.
than one. Yeah, and like 5 days
daily,
a week.
Actually, that's daily.
Now they do shoot more than one show. At least back in the day, they used to shoot more than one show in a day. But you're still doing it 4 or 5 days a week. Like, even people that have been on sitcoms have said, "Oh, when I started acting in movies, it was way better." Because yeah, it's a full-time commitment. Like, it's your life. But I think all of us pretty much have seen Price is Right, especially if we were home from school sick. I mean, I think sick.
Yeah.
Like, anytime you were home from school, you saw The Price is Right. But yeah, 99, and it's even crazy to think about how long Drew Carey's been the host on there now. Like, time just goes by fast. But 99 years old is a full life, and he was very entertaining, and he's going to be iconic forever. I mean, I know Drew's been doing it a long time too, but we're still, most people, if you say The Price is Right, you think of Bob Barker.
You think of Bob Barker, yeah.
Yeah. So, and there were a lot of nice tributes to him too. I actually saw Vanna White, and for those of you who don't know, Vanna White's the letter person on.
Yeah.
I know you knew, but in case
I know exactly.
I think everybody knows who Vanna White is. She actually shared a story and showed a picture when she first moved out to LA to try to become, a star. She ended up being a contestant on The Price is Right. So,
that's crazy.
So that's kind of crazy. So yeah, there you go, Mr. Bob Barker. Four of them. They usually come in threes. We have 4 this time, but whether Bob died once or not, rest in peace, Bob Barker. They are going to do it. I actually saw they're going to do a special on CBS, I believe. The Price is Right special to pay tribute to Bob Barker. So, but other than Price is Right, can we all agree that he'll also be remembered for Happy Gilmore? I'm just saying.
The Price is Wrong.
Price
bitch.
is Wrong. To me, that was one of the greatest cameos ever, because I just didn't expect it, and it was just good stuff.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's one of the best cameos ever. So,
all right.
Well, I think we made it through all the deaths, thank goodness. So, all right. So now we're going to get into some wrestling, and we're going to talk about AEW All In from London, Wembley Stadium, the first time since SummerSlam. In 1992, right? I believe. First time since then that there's been wrestling at Wembley Stadium. Of course, I did not get to watch this because I'm poor. I could not afford to watch it, but I've got to see some of the highlights and everything. And I'm telling you what. First of all, I did watch MJF and Adam Cole against Aussie Open on the pre-show because it was free for the Ring of Honor tag team titles. This crowd was on fire. Let me tell you, the crowd was just electric, and I love the fact that Adam Cole, spoiler alert, Adam Cole and MJF won the Ring of Honor tag team titles. Not only did I love that, but I'm like, man, that makes the main event so much more interesting, because now not only are they buddies, they're tag team champions, and they literally just won them before the pay-per-view starts. So I thought that was a nice little twist.
I heard they were champions. I heard that they were champions when I was talking to my friend about it. He didn't know the outcome of the rest of the pay-per-view. So he knew they went champion, but he didn't know what happened in the main event.
Right. So, yeah. So, like I said, I didn't get to watch it, but I've got to see clips and stuff. And, boy, Tony Khan really went all out on this. Saraya walked away with the women's title in front of her home crowd. Not only that, her family came to the ring with her, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't know if a lot of people know this or even ever thought about it, but for some reason, WWE would not let Paige acknowledge her family, which I always thought was weird. I don't know why. They are a wrestling family. They're just not a family that we would know necessarily. But over there, it's like the Hearts being in Canada, And
okay.
So, yeah, for some reason, WWE, I don't know exactly what the issue was, but yeah, they wouldn't talk about her family for some reason.
Probably because their family has never been in WWE, and
who knows?
They don't like to acknowledge stars in different companies.
Yeah.
It's probably that.
We didn't make
Vince.
you. Probably, like I told you about Road Dogg, they never really talked about him being an Armstrong because that wasn't there, you know. But anyway, not only did she win the championship, Tony got the wallet out so he could use Queen to bring Saraya out. She came out to "We Will Rock You." Um, so congratulations!
I heard that.
9 years after she walked away, or 9 years since she's won a title. It's been 9 years in between championships because, of course, she was gone out of action for a while because WWE wouldn't let her wrestle. So, you know, so congratulations to her. Another one that blew my mind was, but I guess I never, sometimes you know how you have the moments like, oh, I never realized that, because of course they had the tag team coffin match with Swerve and Christian against Sting and Darby Allin, and Sting came out to his old WCW music, which I never realized all these years was a Metallica song. So I guess that's how Tony Khan pulled this off. Well, WCW was good at that. It was a Metallica song, but in WCW they tweaked it just enough so they could use it. It's the same thing they did with DDP. He came out to Smells Like Teen Spirit. They just changed it enough so they could use it without, you know, it necessarily. But if you listen to DDP's that entrance, it's Teen Spirit. Same thing with Sting. I didn't realize his old entrance was actually taken from a Metallica song. So the way that Tony Khan was able to pull this off is he just paid for the rights to the Metallica song and played it. So, because you know, technically WWE would own that music, I would think, when they bought WCW.
Yeah.
So I feel that's what he did. But regardless, Sting, once again at his crazy age, I heard put on a great show, and him and Darby did win the tag team coffin match. The other big one was Jericho performed live with Fozzy. He performed his entrance. I will tell you that Jericho did get a big pop, but if you go online and watch Will Ospreay enter, you got to remember that this was his home crowd. He got like a rock pop when he came out. I mean, the crowd went nuts for Ospreay, and he won the match, which I felt he should have. So Jericho did put him over. I heard FTR versus the Bucks was great, and also congratulations to the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn because they won the Trios tag titles. How about that? Yeah. And then I don't know if it shows it on that graphic. Oh, I guess it does. But anyway, originally, you see the Stadium Stampede was the Blackpool Combat Club against Orange Cassidy, best friends, and it was supposed to be Penta and Ray. Ray Phoenix could not go because of a visa issue, so Eddie Kingston ended up taking place of Ray Phoenix in the Stadium Stampede. So, yeah. Which was won by all those guys. Orange Cassidy's team won the Stadium Stampede. We'll get to the real world champion in a minute. FTR beat the Bucks, and the main event, I wish I would have got to see it all, but from everything I read, even Eric Bischoff, who's been very critical of AEW, said that this match and the finish was genius storytelling. I know at one point the way it ended was they double clotheslined each other, and they ended up pinning each other, and the ref counted the pin. So technically both men shoulders were down, but they ended up restarting it. And then they did all these spots where they were seeing who could out cheat each other, and they were both like struggling to cheat. You know what I mean? Like MJF had his belt and he was going to hit Adam Cole, but he struggled with hitting him because it's his buddy. Remember when the ref was down and he kicked MJF in the balls, I believe, and then tried to give the belt to Adam Cole to use it, and Adam refused to use the belt, and actually ended up losing when he was going back and forth with Roderick Strong and trying to get Roderick to leave. MJF ended up rolling him up real quick, and that's how he won. So eventually I'm going to watch this match, but for even Eric Bischoff, who literally pisses on AEW all the time for some reason, for him to say he thought that, he's like, I want to know who the producer was because this was genius. Adam also didn't turn, which is what, I expected. I told you on episodes a couple weeks ago, I thought that Adam was going to do something dirty, but here he had the chance to, and he wouldn't do it. So, and they even teased again at the end that they might break up, and the next thing you know, they're hugging, and so yeah, good stuff. MJF to me is at the age he is. I mean, he's one of the top heels in the business, and probably one of the top wrestlers in the business right now. And the guy's 26, I think, maybe 27. Jeez. Like, it's crazy. And I know he likes to kayfabe it on TV and stuff, but it will be interesting to see what happens when his contract expires. Whether he will go back to AEW or make the shift jump ship to the big boys. But so congratulations, MJF. By the way, MJF's, I believe, 10 days away from being the longest reigning AEW champion as well. So yeah, so he'll probably beat that. Now the kickoff match was for the Real World Championship, Samoa Joe and CM Punk. Don't know if you happen to read anything online or hear anything.
I've heard some
there was
things.
there was a little problem before Punk came out.
I had the match itself was actually good.
I'm sure it was, because I mean, I know I got to see the clip of Samoa Joe doing his walk away to Punk at one point. Like he was on the outside, Punk went to dive on him, Joe did the walk away, which is one of the greatest moves in wrestling. I'm not a huge Samoa Joe fan, but that simple just moving out of the way thing is great.
It's great. I love it.
On the pre-show, they had Hook versus Jack Perry for the FTW title. And of course, those matches are no rules or whatever. And there's a spot where they had some cars up on they had like a car up there on the stage, where the screens were and everything, kind of like WWE would do back in the day. So there's this car up there, whatever. Maybe somebody drove it in. I don't know. Point is, they go to do this spot where it looks like Jack Perry's going to suplex Hook into the car windshield. And he looks into the camera and goes, "Oh no, it's real glass. Boo-hoo." And apparently that was a shot at CM Punk, because apparently Punk told them they couldn't use a real car and use real glass for this spot. This is the backstage rumor. So Jack Perry kind of took a shot at Punk. So, circle back to the locker room problem the last time. Hangman Adam Page said something Punk didn't like, and as soon as he got backstage, Punk was in his face. Jack Perry said something Punk didn't like, and as soon as Jack Perry got backstage, they had an altercation. Now, both of them are suspended from what I'm reading, and there's a chance that Punk won't even appear at All Out, which is in Chicago, his hometown. So, here again, Punk being Punk and stirring the pot for whatever reason. I don't know. This was a man I loved, folks. That's why I told you we could pull up the audio. That's why I said when he came back, like his promo was great and everything, but I was like, I want to see what happens, because he already started trouble once. I mean, there's rumors. I can't confirm this, but there's rumors he even got into a verbal argument with Tony Khan and threatened to walk out on the company. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But
I will say one thing. I don't know if I necessarily agree with Jack Perry using real glass. I mean, how much danger do you need to put yourself in if there's other options that look just as good?
He's the one that ended up going through it, though, by the way. Hook didn't go through it. Jack Perry ended up going through it.
I get that. But someone looking out for your safety is not necessarily an evil thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who knows?
I'm not saying I agree with Punk on many of his things, but...
Well, part of this, it falls on Tony Khan. If there was actually another backstage issue, that's on you, because you're the one that was like, okay, I'm going to bring him back, so you knew it may happen. But I think that the problem is Punk has always been good. I'm not going to take that away. He's great on the mic. He's great on the ring. And he was a huge star. But in WWE, he was kind of like, what's the old saying? He was like a fish in a pond or whatever. I don't know. He still wasn't even when he was world champion, he wasn't the biggest star in WWE, because there were so many people. Then he comes over here and he gets this treatment and he just immediately blows up. I think he's a little bit, no one's irreplaceable. That's all I'm saying. Like, and I don't know why you have to, there's people I work with I don't like. You can even relate this to real life, because I heard somebody say, well, why should we care what goes on backstage? Well, because this is a work environment. It doesn't matter if it's pro wrestling. If there was a fight in an NBA locker room or an NFL locker room, they would talk about it, they would. If I got in a fight at work, the police would probably get called. Like, it's because there's a difference. Do your fighting in the ring, not backstage. And all the hate that was in WWE all those years, I don't think you never heard about, I'm not saying no one ever tried, but they controlled that. It's the environment. That's what this really goes back to. This isn't the first time you've heard about not enough control in AEW as far as the talent goes. So I'm not just blaming Punk. Like, you hear several stories about people saying William Regal was like, it's not like I didn't like working there, but it's a little bit chaotic backstage. So, it could just be a structure thing. I think sometimes because Tony Khan's a fan, he gets kind of caught up in, am I the boss? Am I a fan? I think sometimes that affects him, but Here's the thing for me. The problem is you just had an historic pay-per-view. They broke the record that was set back in the day, like more people than WWE had. You had this great pay-per-view with fantastic matches. A couple of them are probably 4 stars, and all you hear about is what Punk did backstage. That's my point I'm making here. Like, it's taking away from your product, you know. And I also think it's a little weird that they decided to have All In, and like this weekend they're having All Out. So literally like a week apart, they're doing these pay-per-views, and I think that's a little rough because you don't have any time to build any more story, you know. So we'll see how that goes. And at the end of the pay-per-view, they did announce they'll be back in London next year for All In. So there you go. So,
all right. So is that it for AEW?
That's it.
Is there anything else we really need to talk about with WWE? I mean, they've kind of been
no.
right
I
now
guess
the focus.
we should at least mention that Payback's this Sunday, so they do have a pay-per-view coming up, and that'll be Shinsuke and Seth against each other.
Yeah.
And I know they also announced that Judgment Day's going after the tag titles, so just don't forget to catch Payback. We'll talk about it more next week. We just felt like this week we wanted to focus more on the unfortunate, passings that happened, of course, especially with Bray. So, no, I have nothing else to talk about.
I have one more thing.
I have one other thing, but we know that. But anyway, go ahead.
Right.
Yeah, I almost forgot.
Do you want your thing or my thing?
Go ahead. Whoa, buddy. Wrong peacock. Go ahead. What do you have for us?
I watched Mutant Mayhem.
Oh, you took advantage of the cinema day, huh?
I did. $4 a ticket, man. Yeah, I did. I took advantage of cinema day. Watched Mutant Mayhem. It was great. I loved it. Good. It was a lot of fun.
Obviously, I have not got to see it yet, but I will. It may not be available, but
yeah, I went with one of my kids. We took advantage of cinema day for $4, and we went and saw Mutant Mayhem. I think the choice of making the Turtles played by actual teenagers was perfect. They felt like teenagers. I mean, nice. They were teenagers, and they felt like teenagers. They felt like they were close brothers, close friends, whatever you want to say. Like, they felt like a group of teenagers that are together. They started doing, there were so many times where they just break out doing stupid shit like stupid teenagers do.
Which is what the Turtles should be doing, yeah.
The Donatello, I believe it was Donatello that was sad, or that was really taking something really hard, and they all start trying to sing BTS, the Dynamite song. And they all start trying to sing it to them, and they don't know the words. And they're just like, oh, dynamite. It's like, and then they're like, they say something really stupid, then they all just kind of join in and start doing a bunch of stupid shit. April's just looking at them like, yeah, that's kind of lame. It's just, they felt like teenagers getting together with their dumb inside jokes that nobody else understands. Like,
yeah, I'm pretty excited. I can't wait to see it. We've talked about it plenty.
It was great.
I can't wait to see it. And we will definitely do, obviously you gave us your opinion, but when I get the chance to see it, we will definitely do another, review so we can both talk about it. But yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited about it. I just haven't had the time, all the free time on my hands. But
I understand.
But I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed it, though, because that gives me hope that it's going to be good.
I had a lot of fun. Because I know
we have some similar tastes, so it makes me feel better. I don't listen to critics necessarily, but I like to know, that you saw it.
I think it's very.
I haven't read it yet. Yeah, I haven't read it.
Yeah, I think critics are actually loving it as well. But it's just it's just a fun time. It's a real fun time. I enjoyed it a lot.
As it should be. Good to know. Yeah, I'm definitely stoked. All right, we have one more thing before we start this. Royal Rumble 1998. That's crazy. We're into Royal Rumbles or 98 already. But here we go. It's time for the Sheik Tweet of the Week. And the words of wisdom from the Sheik this week are pretty good ones. Don't be bitter. Be better, you dumb son of a bitch. So there you go. Don't be bitter.
Lovely.
Be better.
Lovely.
Love it. Love
Bitter
it.
better.
Words of
I
wisdom.
like it.
It's a good one. And that's actually
Always.
one they shared from way back. This is why, I decided I can still keep doing this. He has so much, this isn't one this family tweeted out. This is one they reposted. So this is still one of his tweets, even though his family continues to make new ones. So there you go.
Nice.
Don't be bitter. Be better, you dumb son of a bitch. All right. So now I believe we're ready, right? Are we ready to rumble? This will be interesting, by the way. You pointed out this is the first time we've done it on video, which won't have affected a lot.
It's gonna make affect.
It's gonna make your job. It's gonna make
my job.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I need you to do is just send me a list of all the participants without telling me the.
He doesn't want to be spoiled, folks. He doesn't want to be spoiled.
I don't want to be spoiled. I like watching these fresh, and that's my only complaint about doing these video podcasts is I got to make the graphics before. I mean, unless we take the time to where I make the graphic after we watch the match.
Well, I mean,
then that's just.
Technically, don't you just need, for the Rumble itself, you don't necessarily need a graphic of the winner. You just need until the end.
No.
You just need a graphic of the Rumble.
Right. But the place I know to find all the participants normally tells me who the winner is by they highlight the one that's the winner. So I either need to find a new list that doesn't show me the winner, which is what I guess what I'm asking, if you are able to find me that list and like block out the winner so I don't know. That's what I want. I don't want to be spoiled. Although I was spoiled on one cool thing. We talked about Chainsaw Charlie. Chainsaw Charlie is in this Rumble. I didn't realize how soon we got Chainsaw Charlie. It's literally right now.
Literally now.
Yeah,
interesting.
Interesting. The first two entrants is Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie.
Nice.
Very
cool. All right.
Well, let's start watching this.
Let's do. All right, so here we go. Royal Rumble 1998, and our first match is the man they call Vader against the artist formerly known as Goldust, who is managed by Luna Vachon. And by the way, he even found this is the gear that the artist has on at this particular pay-per-view. It's really, I'm a huge Dustin fan, and I was a huge Goldust fan. I did not care a whole lot for this version of Goldust. I mean, I get it, they were trying something different, but it was just a little weird to me. But of course, I mentioned to you off air, this is when Prince changed his name to a symbol. So they were kind of playing off of that a little bit. And to be honest, until the end, we're going to get to that in a minute. This match was kind of just, it was okay, but it wasn't the best thing I ever seen. It does have a great finish, but I mean, it was like Dustin oversold this. Vader clotheslined him and didn't even have a lot of speed when he did it, and Dustin like way oversold the clothesline. Not like Shawn intentionally selling that we'll get to in a few years, but it was just kind of clunky and a little slow till it got to the end. Like that, it took about it was a 6-7 minute match. It took about 5 minutes before it got entertaining to me, in my opinion. But again, I don't know. This character of Goldust is weird, and I never thought face Vader worked very well.
Yeah.
And that, like, the crowd was kind of mixed, like they were cheering for both men. It just had a weird feel to it. And I would imagine at this particular time, with everything that was going on in his real life, that Dustin probably wasn't on top of his game anyway. I mean, because he is really going through the divorce and all that with his wife. So, yeah. I mean, it's what it was.
It was. I don't know. All I want to talk about is that ending.
I mean, that's the best part of it. We could get to the before the actual ending. Vader had Goldust down. He went for a Vader bomb, and Luna distracted the ref so Goldust could give him a low blow. Yeah. But what happened the second time that Vader went for the Vader bomb?
Well, Luna Vachon decided to run into the ring and start jumping on Vader's back. Vader was like, "So."
And? Like a fly.
So what? I'm still a rock star. I got my rock moves, and I Vader bombed him tonight. Because he climbed those damn turnbuckles
with Luna on his back,
with Luna
around
his back,
and still did the Vader bomb.
Gave, let's see, how many fucks do you think Vader gave with Luna on his back?
Zero
fucks were given because Vader just does that Vader bomb on Goldust. I'm sorry, the artist formerly known as Goldust. Lands on him with Luna crashing her head into the mat.
Yeah.
And then gets the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
It was.
And he nailed. He nailed the Vader bomb perfectly. Like.
Now, technically.
Yeah.
Technically, there probably should have been a interference called in for Luna getting involved. And but the ref also gave no fucks.
Right.
It was like, you're doing fine.
Because when I saw Luna come in, that's what I was waiting for. I'm like, oh man, we're gonna get a DQ, and then I'm like, oh well, Vader's like, fuck Luna, I don't even care. And they showed a replay several times, and I'm pretty sure that one of Luna's knees went into the artist's package area, but he had that cup on the outside, so I'm sure he's fine. Yeah, I was watching the replay.
The testicles formerly known as nuts.
Yes, because they showed us a few angles, and it looks to me like, unintentionally, obviously, but it looks like her one knee definitely landed in that general area. So Vader won this not kayfabe, but he won this legit because I'm pretty sure Goldust was out when. Not to mention, I don't know how much you can stop yourself from landing that giant ass man on your stomach. So yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, boy.
It was luckily that spot saved the entire match because, like I said, it was kind of slow and clinkly. And again, I can't wait till you get to see Vader in his prime in WCW when he was a monster.
Mastodon.
Yes. And it wasn't all because, everybody says he got buried because Shawn didn't want to drop the belt to him. And that's not all true because when Vader showed up, he was injured. He had to have surgery. So at this point, he was getting older. He had slowed down a little bit. He had extensive shoulder surgery. So, he wasn't the same person he was in WCW. Could they have booked him different? Yes. Could he have been champion if Shawn wouldn't have been like, nope, I'm not losing to him? Maybe, but who cares? The point is he wasn't the same person. He wasn't as young. He wasn't as healthy. So regardless of the booking, he wasn't going to be that Vader anyway. So, to be fair.
I am excited about next week getting to watch more WCW.
That's right, because that's our new format.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. What I'm thinking we're going to do is when we get to when ECW starts showing up, in the years of WCW, we're going to go back and forth between WCW and ECW.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So we can, like, I think ECW starts up in what, 90, was it 6? 95?
Somewhere around there, 95 maybe, yeah, somewhere around there. Yep.
So when WCW gets to those years, we're going to just go back and forth so we can get ECW in there eventually.
Yeah.
I'm excited about some ECW because I've watched some WCW. I have not watched hardly any ECW. Unless you count the WWF version of ECW.
Which doesn't count. As far as original ECW, I've only seen a few matches over the years, but I did not, back then I wasn't watching ECW, yeah, so even for me, there'll be a lot of stuff
so that'll be interesting for you as well. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get through the WCW years till ECW starts, and then we'll start alternating. So, for 4 pay-per-views a year, we're going to be getting... just 2 WCW, 2 ECW. Eventually they'll end because we don't have nearly as many.
Unlike WWE, WCW and ECW will eventually end.
Yeah, WWE we're just going to keep going. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, as far as this goes, I wish it would have been. It had a heck of a finish, but it wasn't the best match. I guess it was fine for an opener. But other than the ending, it really wasn't that great. So I'm only going to go with 2.5 Vader bombs. Because we had Luna on the back there. So
yeah, I would probably give this a 1.5. If it was just the match itself, the ending is probably a 4. So I kind of agree with you. 2.5 Luna Vachon's knees to the ball.
Yeah, because finishes matter too, kids, and this is proof that you can have a match, but it had excellent finish. Like that was a great finish. It was very creative. That made Vader look like a beast. I loved it. That was a great finisher 101 right there. That's how you end a match, and I'm so glad the ref didn't stop it because, like I said, that was my first thought. Like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, it's great.
Like a
it's
DQ,
great.
So good job
or
on that.
Knees to gold dust symbol. All right. Are we ready for this craptastic match we're got next?
See, he looks ahead now, so he knows. Yeah, we know what the real reason is for this match. It's time to see a little sunshine.
I probably won't have a graphic again because these guys are really hard to find graphics for.
Yes, they are. Yeah,
so I've got a different graphic we are going to share
right.
for the next match. So leave for that.
Let's do it. All right, so we're going to get to this in a second and explain it. Our next match is not Big Boss Man versus Nails, but for one, it's hard to find pictures of these guys, but it was Max Mini, Mosaic, and Nova against Battlon, El Torito, and Tarantula in a 6-person tag match, whatever. And Sunny was the special guest referee. And so we figured this would be a good time because I forgot to bring it up at the beginning of the show to bring up, and we are joking here. We're trying to have a laugh. People, calm down. It's okay. But Sunny, unfortunately, is being charged with several things as she was driving drunk in Florida and got into a car wreck and killed somebody. And we're just, even watching this, we're both like, man, she was on top of the world, and how does this happen? Her blood alcohol content level at the time was 0.280, which is 3.5 times the legal limit in Florida. There was an open bottle of vodka in the car. She also tested for THC. She was also on several different medications that were in her system, and she pleaded no contest, and she's facing up to 25 years in prison. I mean, and that doesn't even look like her, like she's only 50 years old, and yeah, looking rough. And I knew she had some. And to top it off, like all that isn't bad enough, she also had no license at this time, so she was driving with a suspended license, driving under the influence. And I
gotta ask, do you know what Sunny does nowadays? Like, what is her job?
Apparently drinking and driving. I don't know.
That's not a job.
That's not a job. No, I don't know. I don't think she ever really, I think she kind of continued just making money off the fact that she was Sunny. I don't ever remember reading her getting into anything else. Probably doing Comic-Cons.
Well, there was a little bit of the porn, so.
There were some videos, yeah. Unfortunately, I never saw. But anyway, but yeah, other than that, I never heard of her. Like, I don't think she got back into wrestling at all that I know of. And like I said, we're actually not going to be seeing much more of Sunny's here till July. We just got into 1998. She's going to be released in July of 98. That's when the painkiller addiction kind of started up. There were rumors that she got into a backstage confrontation with Sable, CM Punk, and so they and she started no-showing events. So we're not going to see much more of Sunny. And you'd ask me, and I'm pretty sure I would have to Google it, but I do not believe Sunny ever wrestled. I think she was always just a manager.
We're getting close to Diva time, where Divas are going to start doing their own panty matches and stuff like that.
But we are also getting close to we're also getting close to the first female to start wrestling men, with Chyna around. Yeah. She was the first to do that. But I don't believe Sunny ever had a match. I had told you they actually did an episode of Tammy Sitch and Chris Candido, who was one of the Badianas, but was more popular in ECW. They just did the Dark Side of the Ring on this too. I have not got to watch it, but speaking of Dark Side of the Ring, dude, you have to watch the Marty Jannetty one. My only complaint about Dark Side of the Ring is I think sometimes they're not long enough. Like, they only did an hour for Marty, and I feel like it could have probably been 2 hours, But they brought up the text about "It's not my daughter." They brought that up on there.
Of course.
He claims he claims his account was hacked when that got put out.
Sure.
And then he basically acknowledged that the whole story about him killing somebody when he was younger was true. So there's that. If you remember that post where he was like, it was the first time I ever made a man disappear or whatever. Yeah, he basically said that was totally true. So, but anyway, Dark Side of the Ring, check it out. This match, folks, was just what it was, and we both got irritated because, like, I have no problem with little people wrestling. I don't. I've been entertained by it plenty of times. They were doing some high spots and stuff, which is fine to hype the crowd up, but I didn't realize that in 1998 we had wrestlers that didn't know, even though everybody does it today, that if someone goes to do a plancha or whatever on the outside of the ring, if you're just standing there like this, like you're ready to catch a foul ball, it ruins everything, okay? At least sell. Just sell. I'm just saying. You go back and watch some of the pay-per-views we've watched, when spots like that go down, usually the people outside are fighting each other, or they just all got up from taking bumps, so they're still doing at least do something other than these guys literally stood outside and just looking right at the guy coming at him. Just waiting for it.
Like one of you could have done the Samoa Joe walk away. Like just one of you could have. I mean,
or you guys could have been hitting each other instead of, and we get it, we get it. We know how this works. We know, but you can be like
selling is part of the business. Selling is part of the job.
You could be out there having a confrontation with the other guy, or even fighting the other guy, and you can still see out of your peripheral vision to know when it's time for the thing to happen. Just saying, whatever. This was what it was. The best part of the match was not this, but 1998. Sunny was the referee. That was the best part about this match, and probably the only reason they had it. Luckily, it was a short match, no pun intended. But it wasn't that long. What? It was a short match. It was. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was what it was. It was just here. Again, though, we don't know their roster situation, and I imagine that you want to save your guys for the Rumble, so you got to fill in, whatever.
Yeah, I guess on a Royal Rumble match, I don't mind this as much, because the Royal Rumble is your main event. Yeah. That's your main event. So I guess I don't mind this quite as much, but it's still, I mean,
and this is the error too. I don't know. Well, see, no, I'm wrong. Never mind. I'm going to take that back before I said that. I was about to say that this was the error that guys don't do both, but I see that's not true. They are doing both. I remember there was a time, maybe it was before this.
Every single wrestler that we're going to see is also on the Rumble.
Is going to be in the Rumble. But there was a time, maybe it was back when you and, when you guys first start, maybe it was early enough. I remember there used to be a time that if a guy was on a match before the Rumble, he wasn't in the Rumble. Maybe that's was earlier than I'm thinking.
Normally how it is nowadays. I don't think a lot of the
so they're doing it now.
Wrestle...
So sometimes there is some point where it changes. There is a point where if a guy's on a match before the Rumble, he's not in it usually. But again, it depends on how many people are on your roster, how many injuries do you have, all those things of that nature. So
well, you also got to realize that here soon we're going to start getting legends that are or surprise entrants and stuff. This one reuses people, and we get someone to come back in the Rumble 3 times or 2 times. So,
spoiler alerts out there. Spoiler.
I didn't say who it was.
Yeah, so
anybody.
It could be anybody. Wink, Foley. Anyway,
what? Huh?
This was what it was. I don't know. I didn't care for it myself, other than we got to see Sunny. I don't know. I'm gonna give it a 1.5 just because I'm not a total asshole. I don't know. That's it. I don't know.
I'm giving this a 0.5. I'm sorry.
Wow. Yeah. So I don't feel so bad now.
1998 Sunnies. Because that's how we want to remember you, Sunny. Not as a drunk
not this
driver.
Yeah. Being held on no bond too.
Okay, I'm trying not to be an asshole. I am being an asshole here, and it's not because the match was absolutely terrible, but it really, really bugs me how many times they would just wait for a move to happen.
Yeah, they did a lot.
There was no proper setup. There was a time where each one of them got to run out and do a move. I'm not saying those moves aren't every fun, time. But yeah, they waited. It was egregious. It was terribly done. And I'm sorry, but that's bad. And I don't.
I actually agree with you. I probably went too high, so I agree with you. Trust me.
It's.
I
You
just got
know
a
what?
special
I want
place
to be
for 98
nicer,
Sunny.
but I'm sorry,
all.
but that bothers. I don't like it when people do that. And it happened a lot in this match.
It did.
Like there was literally a whole few minutes where it was literally just, oh, these guys are waiting and rope move. These guys are waiting, rope move. Like it was bad. There was even one inside the ring as well. So that was the first time I noticed it, and then they did it even worse on the outside. So yeah, 1.5.
Exactly. All right, I can't argue that.
Nor should you, because I'm right.
All right, well, I happen to know what's next, and I know it has to be better than what we just watched.
Based on what I'm working on the match card for it, and yeah, I would assume so.
Definitely. Well, let's do it. Now that's how you make up for the last segment we just watched. But our next match is for the Intercontinental Championship, and it's Ken Shamrock versus The Rock. And before we dive into this, I told you I had time for a little bit of Boomer's facts here for you. Here's a fact that you won't believe, and I told you that off air. I'm like, I don't want to tell you this till we start recording, but you're gonna be like, wow, is that really possible? But believe it or not, Royal Rumble 1998 is the first pay-per-view where all three major titles were on the line. This is the first time the Intercontinental Tag Team and World title have all been on the line in a pay-per-view. Can you believe that? When you go back,
I'm guessing the next match will be a tag team match.
Yeah, I mean, but you think back, right? You're like, wait, though, WrestleMania and all that, we haven't had all three titles on the line yet, but this is the first time.
Oh, you're saying you're not? I thought you meant just first time in the Royal Rumble.
No, this is the first pay-per-view where they've all been on the line. First pay-per-view. Yeah.
Oh, wow! I did not. That's surprising.
Yeah. Shocking, right? That it was that long before all three titles were on the line on a pay-per-view.
No, the only title that's not being on the line is
technically the European and the Cruiserweight are not, but yeah, but it's the first time on a pay-per-view.
Do we have the Cruiserweight now?
Yes, remember we watched. You actually liked the match a lot. You picked
match
of the night. Yeah. So
yeah, with
Takamika
Jerry Lawler's son,
Brian Christopher. Yeah. So
yeah.
So there you go.
Right.
There's little facts for you. But so here we go with this, and of course Rock is still part of the nation, and this was a hell of a match. I have to take back all that bad stuff I said. Again, we talked about it. It was just, I guess, the way I saw things back then. Because, dude, Shamrock is over. Shamrock is legit. This was a great match. I mean, great match for sure.
It was a good match, and that's 2 of the 3 matches with fantastic ends. But we'll get to that.
Oh yeah, another excellent finish of this match too. But I mean, yeah, everything Shamrock does just looks so real, and The Rock is The Rock. Like, it's not just the way he sells; it's his facial expressions. Like, Rock was probably one of the best ever at just simple facial expressions. You know, that changed
emoticons.
Yeah, the change the way the whole flow of the match goes. And I said to you, you know, this is Shamrock's still pretty new here in the WWF. This is already his second pay-per-view in a row with a title shot, because we watched him go for the world title as well. So not only is he really popular, but they're trying to push him as much as possible. But what got me, the great part that got me was, like, you were like, I don't ever remember him being champion, so I think I know where this is going. And and we got kind of hoodwinked on that, right? It's a back and forth match, and then all of a sudden here comes the Nation. The Nation of Domination comes out, and Shamrock goes to knock Kama off, and he does. And then when he goes to knock D'Lo off, D'Lo gets tied up in the ropes. The ref gets distracted, and The Rock breaks out the old brass knuckles.
Oh, old school brass knuckles.
Which is, see, we've seen it. I know I watched this live, but we both had a couple of those, like, oh shit moments, because we saw that and thought it was over. And after The Rock hit Shamrock and he was down, he actually put the brass knucks in Shamrock's tights. And then he pinned him, and we thought that was it. Shamrock kicked out of the brass knucks. He's like, here, brass knucks, buddy.
Yeah, he had what we call an insurance plan.
Yes, he did. Yes, this is why heel Rock was so good. So he did kick out. The ref happened to get distracted again, and all Shamrock did was hit his belly to belly. pinned The Rock. The ref's back was turned. I was counting along with him. He already had a 2 count technically before the ref even turned around. So I expected The Rock to kick out, but he didn't. The ref counted to 3 and even raised Shamrock's hand. And you were like, we were both kind of like, oh, wait, what? And then I remembered. I remembered what that tricky little Rock did. I remembered. And yeah, he starts crying to the ref, going, hit his trucks, he hit me. And it was great, right? This was like a cinematic ending. I loved it. You don't see this very often. You don't see the referee reversal, but he made Shamrock dig into his trunks because he's like, what's that? I'm not touching it, but I need to see what that is. I want to know.
It's very hard. So either you're aroused or something's in there.
Very big bulge going on in there, Shamrock, buddy. Yeah, and he pulled the knucks out, and he ends up reversing his decision and disqualifying Shamrock, and he gets a belly-to-belly and an ankle lock for his decision. So, yeah, it was a good. You're right though. The Rock was like, "Hey, I got an idea. I'm gonna cover myself here and make sure I don't get in trouble."
It's
good stuff.
It's crazy. If you think about this logically, and don't get me wrong, I fucking loved all of this. If you think about it logically, Ken Shamrock's dick is a little colder once he puts those knocks in there. I mean, come on. You didn't notice like a cold fucking piece of metal right on your junk?
No, he did not. He was too busy.
When doing a move like a power or, like a body slam or something like that.
Yeah.
When you land, you didn't notice a little hardness down there? Like, come on. But no, this was a fantastic ending. I loved it.
It was a great match. Again, I got to take back everything I said about. Again, it's hindsight's 20/20, and you get older and you change your view. Because Shamrock, like you believe that at this point, I'm already at the point that I believe when Shamrock comes out, someone's going to get hurt. I already believe that. And when he had that ankle lock on that ref, I'm like, he's about to break. And
tonight it was the it was the referee.
It was the referee. So then we get 3 more refs come out and security, and those refs go in the ring and immediately leave. I'm like, come on, guys. There's 3
come
of us.
on, guys. We got this. There's 3. Wait. I just looked at them. Fuck this. I'm out.
You saw what they really did, though, right? They got in quick enough to make Shamrock get up and walk away from the ref he had already hurt, and then they got out and pulled that ref out real fast. So they knew what they were doing. They're like, we just got to distract him real quick so we can get our buddy out of there before he kills him. So spoiler alert, it shouldn't surprise you that when we get to the next WrestleMania here, we're going to get a rematch between The Rock and Ken Shamrock, which should not shock you since it ended the way it did. So this is going to be one of our WrestleMania matches, but this was highly entertaining, done so well, and I'm just all about these finishes too so far. That's 2 great finishes we've had already, and I don't even care that it got reversed and all that because the way they did it was perfect. I mean, it was that right there was like, and you haven't got to see a lot of them, but that right there was like Ric Flair style, a move right there. That's something Flair would have done. There's a reason they called him the dirtiest player in the game. So I loved it. Beautiful. I loved every bit of it. Highly entertaining. And I mean, you know what? I'm gonna give this 4 pairs of brass knucks. That's what I'm gonna do.
I'm giving this a 4.5. Rock took the heel 101 final test and got an A+.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Absolute perfect heel work. 100 out of 100.
And I even told you, like, as much as he got over and as popular as he was, I kind of preferred heel Rock, and not just this heel Rock, but when he comes back later on, once he started going to Hollywood, and then he becomes like Hollywood Rock, like he's just, when you have certain skills, it can make you such a good heel. He's good as both. He's a good face too. Don't get me wrong, but
he's a great face.
And by the way, this is
because he doesn't really change his attitude. He's still like a dick. He just
this right here is what got him. This is what got him over too. I mean, he had to turn bad to get over. Like they're saying Rocky sucks now, but it's not because they think he sucks. It's because he's a bad guy. It's different. You want him to say you suck when you're a bad guy. You want that. So yeah, this was great. No, this was a great match for sure. And yeah, I think we're ready to see what's next. But again, I'm becoming a Shamrock fan. I guess I just had those blind eyes back in the days. That's all. That UFC bias. Like, what are these guys doing here? You're not a wrestler.
I remember liking him for the ankle lock.
I even told you off air.
Loving the ankle lock.
Yeah, I even told you off air. I just recently discovered that Shamrock was actually a wrestler before UFC anyway. He wasn't in the WWF, obviously, but he actually tried wrestling before he went to the UFC. So there you go. And I had no idea till I watched Dark Side of the 90s about UFC. So there you go. Shamrock was a wrestler first, then went to UFC, and then back to wrestling. So, which, by the way, part of the reason he ended up in the WWF was because when UFC first started, he actually said the day I decided I couldn't stay was the day they told me they couldn't pay me. Yeah, so it got then, yeah. UFC was struggling a little, and they didn't pay him for one of his appearances or whatever, and he got that call and was like, yeah, why not? I'll give wrestling another shot. So I think it worked out okay for him.
Yeah, worked all right.
Yeah, worked out all right.
I know who he is from wrestling, not UFC. So
right. All right. Well,
okay.
Let's see what's next.
Here's the cover. Can he do it? Kick out at 2.
All right, before we get into our next match, I guess, we got a little rusty from time off. I don't know, but we kind of forgot to talk about these backstage segments we've been seeing. And for some reason, everyone wants Stone Cold. Everyone wants to take him out.
Yeah,
we're not quite sure why.
I don't get what's up with that.
Earlier, it was we saw the Nation looking for him, and then in this little segment,
stables.
Yeah, in this segment, we saw Los Berwick was looking for him. They thought they found him, and here it was just one of the members of DOA. And here's a spoiler alert, because I know the Rumble's next. That whoever they attacked, I think it might have been 8 Ball. I don't know, but one of them was actually injured, and they don't end up being in the Rumble. So that was the whole point of that particular backstage segment, is they're going to say he got beat up in the back and he can't participate, but he's actually injured in real life. So, but I know a lot. Yeah, I usually know a lot of stuff. I'm not quite sure about this, what the story is with Stone Cold, other than maybe just everybody's threatened by him, is what they're trying to say. I don't know. Not sure if there's a specific reason everybody's looking for Stone Cold, other than he's in the Rumble. But anyway, with all of that being said, here's our next match. It's for the WWF Tag Team titles. It's the Legion of Doom against the New Age Outlaws. We got this big package about LOD, showing how dominant they've been and everything, and then they changed the tone of the package and made it like sad music and showed how the Outlaws attacked and beat up LOD pretty much. And I'm pretty sure I saw DX in that clip of those guys, but at this point, these guys are still not in D-Generation X. They are the New Age Outlaws now, but they're not in DX yet, and Billy Gunn is not Mr. Ash yet. So, but we still have the New Age Outlaws, so I'm okay with that. And LOD, of course, is LOD. No more needs to be said. And we got a little bit more reasonable. I know they're not your favorite promo guys, but at least LOD wasn't talking about boogers this time. The best line had to be when Animal said, "What do doctors know?" or something to that effect. Doctors don't know what they're talking about.
Doctors don't know what they're talking about.
Because they're trying to sell that Animal's still hurt from the attack by the New Age Outlaws. So he's like, yeah, doctors don't know what they're talking about. You're right. Yeah, they don't. Doctors, smockers. Who needs doctors? Anyway, I thought it was an entertaining tag team match. And again, I know we'll get to it in a second, but again, like, this has been a night of great finishes, other than we don't count the mini people match. Because I was even okay with the way this one finished. Because you don't see a whole lot of that anymore either. You don't see a whole lot of the bad guys just being like, you know what? Fuck it, if I can't win, no one's winning.
Well, not only that, but they also handcuffed a Hawk or Animal.
Literally handcuffed Hawk to the corner post outside to make it a 2-on-1 match.
Yeah, this has been great heel work.
Great heel work in this. That's because we're getting into peak heel time. You got to remember, on the other channel, you have the NWO running around, and they're making heels cool. So, and it's okay to push that envelope a little bit more and see how much heat you can draw and how much you can get away with it. Because, I mean, first of all, we're in San Francisco. This is 1998, and they come out in the Brett Favre jerseys and say the only thing Steve Young's going to be doing during the Super Bowl is getting people more beer when they need it. So it's even that kind of stuff you don't get to see a lot anymore. I go back to the SummerSlam that I was at live, and I know we reviewed that SummerSlam, but that's when the Browns had just moved and Jerry the King Lawler came out in a Ravens jersey. I mean, that's just even little stuff like that is just great heel heat. Let's see, does anyone do that kind of stuff today? Oh yeah, MJF does some stuff like that every once in a while. But anyway, so the New Age Outlaws got heat right away. You thought it was interesting because the New Age Outlaws came out first. Normally the champs don't come out first, but I just think it's because LOD was returning, and it was just part of the story, and it probably worked out better that way because it gave Road Dogg time to do his trash talk, you know, and LOD of course got their big pop, so I think it worked out. You don't see that very often. Just every now and again they'll reverse the way they come out, but understandable. But it was a highly entertaining match, and I've said it before, but the New Age Outlaws really are one of my favorite tag teams of all time. And it's because of everything. It's not just because of the mic skill and the heel moves, but they can actually wrestle too. You know, they're both Billy Gunn's still wrestling to this day and just won a championship. I mean, come on, what can you say? You know, of course the Road Warriors are no longer with us, but it was a good match. It was entertaining. It was hard hitting, and they did actually make it look like Animal was going to win with Hawk handcuffed. But of course, Road Dogg comes in with the chair, and they get disqualified, and then they continue to just beat the crap out of Animal. So, you know, what are you going to do? He's all alone. He's all by himself. Till Hawk got that burst of energy, and just ripped the handcuff like it was nothing. You've done that before, right? Just busted some handcuffs off of him.
Ripped handcuff off? Yeah, absolutely.
Think those are real handcuffs?
All the time.
Think those are real or working handcuffs? What do you...
I would assume they're breakaways, but
I would say so because they broke pretty easy. I love that it didn't happen until he saw, you know, Animal getting pounded down into nothing, you know, with the chair shot. The thing that kind of made me laugh a little bit is they were doing a really good job doing this 2-on-1 beat down, and Road Dogg's doing the chair and stuff, and Billy goes up, so I'm thinking they're going to do, I don't know, maybe a famouser with the chair there or something, and he literally just did this kind of weak splash. Went to Animals, I was like, oh, the devastating body splash. Ooh.
So, just a heads up, the conference championship was the San Francisco 49ers versus Green Bay Packers.
Gotcha.
So that is why they were wearing the Green Bay Brett Favre shirts, because San Francisco was about to play the Green Bay Packers.
Pretty sure they went to the Super Bowl that year too. I'm pretty sure the 49ers went.
The Packers went.
Oh, they did. Oh, what do you know?
It was
well,
Packers versus the Broncos in the Super Bowl. So the Broncos were originally in the they're in the AFC. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was Denver versus Green Bay for the Super Bowl. So they were right. Steve Young was giving brewskis to
brewskis out of his house. You know.
Fat wife was it? Is what they said. His fat wife
getting his fat wife another beer when she needs one. Yeah, that's really what he said. That's good. That's good heat right there. I'm just telling you, folks. That's how you do it. And I'm pretty sure we'll find out. We'll find out going along here. But I don't think the New Age Outlaws were ever technically baby faces either. Like, I don't think DX was really baby faces. Like, people started liking them.
No, they never were. People just loved them, but they were always heels.
And again, it goes back to the NWO, who kind of opened the door for, you know, the bad guys to be cool. But I think they always point to the NWO, but I think Steve Austin was another one, because Steve Austin's probably the first guy that never changed anything he did, but just got over.
Yeah.
Like, fans loved him, but if you go back and watch, Stone Cold never changed. He's a heel. He always was. He was always a heel. He was always a heel.
He didn't care. It was less heelish and more, he did not give a fuck who you were.
He was anti-system. He was and of course, I think a lot of people fell in love with him during the McMahon feud, because who wouldn't want to, you know, give their boss a Stone Cold Stunner every now and then.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's a lot of what got that over. But anyway, this was a highly entertaining match. It ends in a DQ. You mentioned it. This may be a WrestleMania rematch, and it could be. I didn't look at the card. I just happen to know a few of the matches that we're going to have, but it could possibly be one. Another little interesting fact, I'm not saying we won't see LOD again, but this is the last time the Legion of Doom compete at a Royal Rumble. So, just thought I'd throw that out there. A few years from now.
Not even Legion of Doom, the new Legion of Doom?
Yeah, they're not. Just at the Royal Rumble. That's all. This is the last time they're at the Royal Rumble. Years later, we'll see, and it might even be like after Hawk died, but there's a point where Animal comes back, wants to be a participant in the Royal Rumble, but this is the last time we see Legion of Doom at a Royal Rumble. Together at a Royal Rumble anyway, yeah. So, they're not gone yet. Yeah, we were just talking about that. I know Sunny's leaving soon, so I'm not sure if that LOD 2000 thing happens before she leaves or if they brought her back for that. But that's going to happen here soon too. So, anyway, though, a highly entertaining match. I like to finish because it was just classic heel. It was classic New Age Outlaw stuff, the trash talking to the fans, all really good. maybe not the match of the night or nothing, but it had its entertainment value, and I'm gonna give it 3.5 chair shots.
3.5 non-bedroom handcuffs.
Not the same ones from One Night in China, huh? Not the same handcuffs?
No,
Different,
not those.
different,
Not those.
not those handcuffs? Okay.
No.
What can you do? All right, well, we know what's next, so I guess no one's going to have to search for Stone Cold anymore because it's Royal Rumble time.
Yeah!
First time doing the Rumble on the video chat, huh?
Yeah,
I mean, not that it really makes much difference. Yeah, should be. All right, well.
That will be the first WrestleMania on a video chat as well, because I just edited the last WrestleMania we did, and it was not a video chat because I had to do all the editing. And just in case we haven't mentioned it much, Undertaker's streak is at 6-0 right now.
Okay, no, I don't think we've. Now, have they started keeping track, or is that us keeping track?
They've mentioned track.
You've been.
I'm keeping track.
Because I still don't think they've mentioned the streak yet, but.
On the match cards, I've been putting what his streak is.
Gotcha.
Adding whatever match that he wins at. And the last one I did was 6-0. It was a title match. It was the main event of WrestleMania. I can't remember who he faces, but he wins.
There you go.
Say Vader. I think it was Vader.
Maybe.
The championship.
Maybe.
I just did it too, so I don't know. But
it's your old age. It's fine. All right. All right. Well, let's do it. Let's get ready to rumble.
All right. Let us get ready to rumble. Psycho Sid. My bad.
There you go.
Sorry. I had to check real quick. It was Psycho Sid. All right. I don't think we've seen Psycho Sid since.
Nah, he's gone. He's gone.
All right. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Well, I am. I'm pretty excited about this. Well, I'll tell you what. You know what?
My end says you're still recording.
Because believe me, he's not going to be driving away from that road.
Still, stop that.
That's what my end says. All right, here we go, Royal Rumble time. And if you haven't heard us cover a Royal Rumble before, we stop at every 10 people. And then, of course, we do the final 4. That way you know what's going on. So I will be, of course, you can see by the graphic of my hardworking co-host here, you can see everyone that was in the Rumble, including an action figure.
Look, it's hard to find individual pictures of this damn DOA.
DOA is hard to find.
They all look the same. I can't tell. The Crush was the only one I kind of recognized. So,
right.
You know what? They gave me individual pictures of figures. So, guess what? DOA comes out as figures.
It works, and I love it. I do. And we both are pretty sure, so I'll go ahead and go in. The number 1 entrance was Cactus Jack, followed by the alter ego of Terry Funk, who we were just discussing today, Chainsaw Charlie. And when Cactus came out, he had trash cans in his hands already, and we were both pretty sure this is the first, not only the first, but like this is the only Royal Rumble I remember with weapons. Definitely the first one where there were weapons right away. And there's this great spot where Chainsaw Charlie's just sitting there begging for Cactus to give him chair shots. And then all of a sudden they switch roles and Cactus decides he's going to beg for some chair shots. Great way to start the Rumble. Our third entrant was Tom Brandi.
Yep, and he gets thrown out just as quickly as he came in.
Yes, according to Wikipedia, he was in there for 12 seconds. So not the record, but definitely in and out. Eventually, he becomes Salvador Sincere or some crap like that. I don't remember. It was a bad gimmick. So nobody really cares. Sorry, Tom. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
At number 4, we got The Rock, the Intercontinental Champion. Number 5 was Mosh from the Headbangers. At number 6 was one of your favorites, Phineas Godwin. Know how big of a Godwin fan you are? No?
Ugh.
Not a...
Drop a little in my mouth.
Then at number 7 was Action Figure. 8 Ball. 8 Ball at number 7. Of course, you were like, he should have came out at 8. I mean, that would have been...
Should have.
You know, it would have made logical sense, right? I heard someone say, I wonder if 8 Ball will think 7's his lucky number. At number 8, though, instead we had Blackjack Bradshaw. Wonder how his career turned out. I think he did okay for himself. Then number 9, Owen Hart's coming out, and here comes JFFJRRET, Jeff Jarrett, and Jim Cornette to attack him. I don't know if we've talked about this. We might have mentioned it on our podcast, but this is during the time where they're trying to. Jim Cornette is working with the NWA, and they're trying to work the NWA with WWF. So Jeff Jarrett's like the NWA North American champion or some crap. He insisted on having his belt on while he was beating down Owen. So, and at number 10, we got Steve Blackman, another guy who I wasn't a fan of back then. And maybe when we go rewatch these, maybe I'll change my opinion like I have with Shamrock. So we'll see. But there are your first 10 entrants.
I just realized that I forgot to put Steve Blackman in that. So here's the proper graphic with Steve Blackman.
Right there we go. There we go. All right. So there's our first 10. And what eliminations have we seen?
Well, we saw Chainsaw Charlie and Cactus Jack toss out Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
And then, yeah, I know. I kept thinking they said that every time.
That's what it kept sounding like.
And then later on, the only other one we got was Chainsaw Charlie tossing out Cactus Jack.
Which technically, he just moved out of the way. He did the old Samoa Joe thing. Cactus kind of eliminated himself. He went for the clothesline over the top. Chainsaw Charlie got out of the way, and bye-bye Cactus Jack. So, all right. Well, there you go.
You got to eliminate him for reasons.
Yeah. It's a pretty special Royal Rumble for those of you if you remember. But yeah, Cactus had to go because I think someone else is coming. Could be wrong. I don't know.
That's right. I don't know. We'll see.
You never know. There's always hope for mankind.
That's right.
All right.
Dude, love it.
Love it, dude. Love it. All right. Well, let's get back to the Rumble, and we'll be back in a minute. All right, here we go. We are back, and now we're going to run down entrance 11 through 20. And at number 11, we get D'Lo Brown from the Nation of Domination. 12, we get the Giant Kurgan. That's how you say it, right? Just Kurgan?
Interrogator.
The Interrogator right now. He's still the Interrogator because of the Truth Commission thing, but of course, I remember, and I'm pretty sure you remember him too from the Oddities, which hasn't quite happened yet. But yeah, he is number 12. 13, we get Mark Marrow. 14 was interesting to both of us because it's Shamrock, and he goes after the Interrogator first, and it's like several minutes before he even acknowledges the fact that the Rock's in the ring. Like, we both expected him to go in there and
it is weird. I guess it might be, you might be able to chalk it up to him being smart, like trying to do a smart situation, like, this guy's the biggest guy, I need to take him out real quick, and then I can focus on the Rock.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird. I thought you would think he would go after the Rock right away, considering
because that was the hot. Yeah, that would have been the hot thing, So interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. At number 15, we got Thrasher, and then at 16, we get Mankind.
Mankind.
Commentary like, what is this? And Jerry Lawler said something about, I don't know, Cactus Jack, Mick Foley, Mankind, whoever he is. Like, hey, folks, technically, it's a different superstar. Technically, it is. So, yeah.
Part of me kind of, like, when I was younger, I think I liked it. I loved the situation, but at the same time, all I could think of is like, well, he just took out 2 spots for 2 other people. Like, that's not cool. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, I'm watching this Rumble, and I realize, half the Rumble are people that have already wrestled today. So
yeah, and then you got people like you would have had more Tom Brandys come out. They might have put
more
those
Tom
midgets
Brandys,
in here, but
who we forgot is still was in this because he gets taken out so quick
because somebody cares, and of course after Mankind, then we get the artist formerly known as Goldust, who changed his lavish attire for the for the Rumble. And then next is Jeff Jarrett, and as soon as Jeff Jarrett gets in the ring, Owen comes back. So Owen gets into the Rumble finally. And then after Jarrett, we get the Honky Tonk Man.
The Honky Tonk Man.
Honky Tonk Man. Interesting entry, and I actually told you, and the funny thing is he came out and China and Triple H were behind him, and Triple H was on crutches. Triple H was legit hurt, of course. I'm sure they're just trying to play it off differently on TV, however, but that's why the Honky Tonk Man was in the Rumble, is because Triple H was hurt. And interestingly enough, I'm pretty sure he just appears in this Rumble and that's it. But believe it or not, and this is 1998. So like you're like, in a Rumble, I can see that because legends come back all the time, right? So it's not really that shocking to see because this becomes a trend. But after this Rumble, he actually ends up signing with WCW. How crazy is that the Honky Tonk Man was in WCW? It didn't last long because he tried to hold him up for money and that didn't work. So anyway. After the Honky Tonk Man, number 20 is Ahmed. For some reason, Ahmed's still here. So, yeah.
Looking kind of heelish.
And you notice he's a little bit bigger, right? And I don't necessarily mean muscle-wise, like, because I think it's 99 when he shows up in WCW and he's, like, out of shape and gotten bigger, but not muscle-wise, and he becomes the new Harlem Heat. But that's a whole nother... Anyway... whole nother disaster. But so I'm Matt Johnson at number 20, and my co-host will tell us about the eliminations. We got a few more this time, I think, right?
We have quite a few more, actually. The last one just had 2. So Kurgan tosses Mosh out with ease. He just like picks him up and tosses him out
like a rag doll.
Then Kurgan takes another one out by punching Blackman. He punches him and he gets thrown out from the punch.
Like they're already trying to make Kurgan look like a monster. It's interesting.
Yeah. Everyone just works together and tosses Kurgan out. Or at least 5 or 6 people.
Yep.
Mankind punches out Chainsaw Charlie and knocks him out. Goldust does a clothesline on Mankind, eliminating him.
Dude.
Owen Hart tossed... the Owen Hart part... Huh? What?
Oh, nothing. Go ahead. You're talking about Owen Hart. Go ahead.
Okay. Owen Hart. So Jarrett tries to toss out Owen Hart, and Owen Hart does the Shawn thing and catches himself, and then pulls himself back in the ring, which I just imagine that's hard as hell to do. And then as Jarrett is strutting, at the very end of his strut, Owen Hart runs behind him and tosses him out. That was kind of cool. Then The Rock tosses out Ken Shamrock. And then China gets credited with a elimination because...
China and Triple H. Both.
China, they start hitting Owen Hart with the crutches. Owen Hart grabs the crutch, and then China pulls him out of the ring with the crutch.
The other crutch, yeah.
And then they beat the unholy hell out of Owen Hart.
Yes. And they legit are credited, which they did eliminate him, but even if you go on Wikipedia, yes, neither one was in the match, but, which is the only thing that gets me, like, okay, so, and I'm not trying to overanalyze, but now we have seen where people have been eliminated from the Rumble and have still eliminated somebody, but, I mean, can technically somebody that wasn't even in it eliminate someone? I don't know, I guess that's the thing, right? Because there's no real rules. It just, that part seems a little weird to me.
I think as long as you go over the top rope, it doesn't matter.
That's right. They've never said that you're... They've never said that it had to be someone in the Rumble throw you. It just says if you go over the top and both feet touch the floor. So
if you think of the logic, if somebody just like pulls down the ropes and you fly out on your own momentum, you're still eliminated, even though nobody actually tossed you out.
That logic doesn't make sense.
You went over by yourself.
Well, and I guess technically, in a way, the Mankind elimination is an example of that, or a Cactus elimination is kind of an example of that, because Charlie never touched him; he just moved. So it was his own momentum. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
But
I'm not complaining. I was just curious. But yeah, I'm not complaining.
You go over the ropes and land on the outside. It's an elimination.
It's an elimination.
It doesn't matter. That's the rule. That's not who throws you out. It's how you go out, and if you go out in that way,
true.
If it's an act of God, you're still eliminated.
You're right. You are correct.
Tornado drops down, tosses them all out. That's an elimination. Still
elimination. All right. Anybody else?
And actually, here's an interesting thing. Yeah, no, that's the last one. for eliminations. But so far, we're only at about 2 eliminations. Like the top person, like for most eliminations in this Rumble, there's only like Kurgan has 2 and Chainsaw Charlie has 2, and that's it.
Yeah.
No, nobody else has more than 2 eliminations.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to give any.
Curious who's going to have the most.
I don't want to give any spoilers because I already know that too, and not because I looked. It's just because I remember this Rumble. So, yeah.
I see.
But no spoilers.
But yeah,
that's
all I got. That's all I got.
All right. Well, let's get back to the Rumble, and we will come back when we get the last 10. Let's do it.
Alrighty.
All right. So here we go. Everyone is in the ring. So we're going to go over the final 10 entrants and the eliminations that we saw. Of course, Ahmad came in at number 20, and at number 21, we got Mark Henry. At number 22, nobody came out, and they tried to sell it. Of course, JR was like, that was Stone Cold's spot. I know it was. But 22 was actually supposed to be Skull of the DOA, and he was injured from being jumped.
Told me earlier.
Yeah, from being jumped earlier. And here again, though, back to your point kind of about the Foley thing going on, obviously the roster was kind of, depleted a little bit. They could have thrown somebody else in there because if you think about it, there's 4 men that aren't in this match, and that's Hawk, Animal, Road Dogg, and Billy. Like one of those guys could have, you could have plugged somebody in there, but it kind of worked out with the whole Austin storyline too. After no one came out, the next entry was Kama Mustafa. And then next, we heard the glass shatter, and we all know what that means. And what got me is, now don't get me wrong, everyone in the ring stopped fighting. But immediately when that glass shattered, they showed Mark Mero with his hands up in the air cheering. Like a little, like a fan, like, here comes Stone Cold, here comes Stone Cold.
Well, he was doing that. He was doing that through the whole.
Well, I forgot you had to point out, like, who was he cheering earlier? Owen. He was cheering on Owen when Owen was beating Jeff Jarrett down. He wasn't helping him. He was just like, yeah, Owen, that's it.
Yeah, you're doing a good job.
Like, what are you doing, Mero? Maybe this is when he had.
Isn't he like a motivational speaker now? So
he is a motivational speaker now. Yes, he is.
So he was like, you know what?
Isn't it ironic?
This from wrestling. I think I want to do this for good.
Stone Cold's entrance was pretty good because, like we said, everyone stopped and they were all facing the entranceway, and then Stone Cold came in from the other side. So he did the old sneak attack. Coming on in the ring. After Stone Cold, we got Henry O'Godwin. After Godwin came out Savio, and he brought all the Bariquas with him to try to jump Stone Cold. It didn't work. Stone Cold got rid of everybody. Well, not Savio, but he got rid of those extra Bariquas pretty quick. And then our next entrance was Farouk, and immediately Farouk went after The Rock.
Yeah, that was interesting.
It was. I mean, I kind of like it because it's a Rumble concept. As a matter of fact, like, all the nation are still in, and they're not even helping each other. They're either attacking each other or they're just off doing their own thing. So
yeah,
I mean,
they've been attacking each other all Rumble, but it hasn't felt like this felt like rivalry feud type.
Yeah, no,
attacking.
I see what you. Yeah,
Farouk attacking
felt
different.
Farouk attacking The Rock did not feel like just a Royal Rumble fight. It felt like a personal, and I'm sure we're just missing. We're missing all the stuff on Raw, I'm sure, where The Rock's kind of becoming the spotlight of the nation and blah, blah, blah. So, we're getting to the point where Rock will be the leader. So it makes sense. But yeah, it was definitely different than just your typical, let's fight in the Rumble thing. It was definitely a little heated.
It wasn't opportunistic. He went straight for him.
Yeah, it was malicious. Yeah, he knew what he was doing. And we saw D'Lo get at people's elbows. So they're just like, you're like, well, shouldn't they be working together right now instead of, whatever. After Farouk at number 28, we got Dude Love. Got the third face of Foley. This is Foley's baby boy. At 29, we got the other action figure. I mean, we got Chains. And the last entry in the Royal Rumble is none other than the man they call Vader.
Sorry.
You pushed play. Is there a ghost? No.
Well,
all right.
I was getting something set up. And I didn't mean for it to play. I want to. I want us to watch an extra match on this Royal Rumble.
All right.
All right. So
elimination.
Henry tosses out Phineas Godwin, Mark Henry. D'Lo and Mark Henry toss out Ahmed.
Amen.
May.
Yeah.
Austin, when he comes in hot, he just punches Mero and tosses him out. And then he also tosses out 8-Ball.
Yep.
Dude Love comes in and he just Bradshaw's fighting someone and he takes advantage and pushes Bradshaw out. As of right now, still only two is the leader on eliminations.
Eliminations, still the leaderboard, yeah.
Unless we look at Mick Foley as one person.
Well, that's true. But
if
three different characters.
Mick Foley has tossed out 3. Because each one of them has tossed out at least one person. So
right. Yeah. Still different.
That's it.
3 different characters. That's it? All right. That's it. All right. Well, everyone is in. And, of course, we will come back when we get down to the final 4. Which, again, I already know who wins this Rumble, so... But it's fine. I still don't mind. I don't remember all of it, so it's all right. So, yeah. let's see what happens. All right, so we are down to the final 4, and the final 4 are Farouk, Dude Love, The Rock, and Stone Cold. And my co-host here is going to do his best. The eliminations were fast and furious in that little bit of time.
I don't have them all. I know I don't have them all, but
we don't have them all. It's just the way life goes. But we do know who has the most.
They literally go rapid fire,
dude,
toss.
Stone Cold got on fire, and then everybody was tossing everybody out. But Stone Cold's up to what, 5 now? Is that where you were at?
Stone Cold's at 5. He threw out Thrasher, Savio, and Chains.
Yes.
Vader threw out Honky Tonk Man. Goldust tossed out Vader, and Chains tossed out Goldust. I will say the Austin eliminations have been entertaining. A lot of them they're chasing after him. He just does a hip toss out of them.
Yeah,
tosses them over.
Just throws them out. So I'm sure there was some other eliminations because there was quite a few people in the ring by the end there. But yeah, I could not keep up with them. All I can tell you is right now Stone Cold's at 5. That's right. And we were talking a little off air, and even we're going to do it this way, even though I know who wins. We like to use our logic when we get to the final 4s. No disrespect to anybody, but let's be logical. We know it's not going to be Farouk. I mean, you take him out right away. We know it's not Farouk. We know it's not Dude Love. Dude Love's not. I really don't think Dude Love wins. Dude Love isn't likely either, so it's going to be Rock or it's going to be Austin. I think it's Austin. I'm guessing it's going to be the final 2 is Austin versus Stone Cold. I think there's going to be a lot of hints to a future rivalry here. I think with The Rock having the Intercontinental title, I think it's Stone Cold winning this. I know he wins, I think, 3 Rumbles. I think he has the record for most Rumbles right now, wins. Or at least tied by now. Right. I know Sean has 2 Royal Rumbles, but I'm guessing he never wins another one since I do believe Austin has the record. And Austin's time in WWF wasn't exactly super long, so logically he wins this one and probably one more, maybe 2000. Isn't it crazy? I don't think they're all 3 back-to-back, so. Isn't it crazy that 2 of the biggest stars ever in the WWF, right there on your screen, The Rock and Stone Cold, and realistically they both were only there for about, I think, 5 years. That's insane to think about. 4 or 5 years is all they did, and they were 2. Like Stone Cold was the biggest merchandise seller of all time. The Rock was just huge. It's just crazy to think in that short a time what those 2 did, and to think about if Rock wouldn't have went full Hollywood, what else he would have accomplished, and if Austin wouldn't have had all the injuries and the drug issues and blah, 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 what else he might have accomplished. But yeah, it's crazy to think, because I know in my mind for a long time I thought Stone Cold was there forever, but neither one of them, The Rock or Stone Cold, really had that long of a career in WWF. Well, I can't say I thought that with The Rock, mainly because I Stone Cold, I knew it because I knew that he got injured and wasn't able to wrestle anymore. That's why he stops. The Rock, I didn't even think about because he just leaves for Hollywood, which, let's be fair, he does pretty well for himself after. Oh, he's done just fine. WWF. Just amazing to think how over and how much he did. in that
I
little
would
bit
say
of time.
100% the most successful wrestler of all time. Like outside of wrestling.
To go outside of it, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You can't argue. You can't argue. Nope, not at all. All right, well, let's see who wins this thing.
Alrighty then.
All right, well, that Final Four went rather quickly, and here's your winner, Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold.
Yep, Farouk clothesline Dude Love and take him out. And while Farouk was attacking Stone Cold, The Rock took advantage and tossed him out.
Bye-bye,
then
Farouk.
we had Stone Cold and Rock fight for just a short while. And Stone Cold does a stunner, tries to throw Rock out. Rock saves himself.
Yep.
And then does the stunner on the Rock and wins.
Yeah. And Rock sold it, of course. Fabulous, like always. Went down and ended up coming back up, and he looked like he's drunk, and Austin tosses him over. Austin wins, and he's going to Mania to face the champ, which we're about to find out because we still have one more match. And by the way, just a quick side note, this is the third Royal Rumble in a row where the Royal Rumble is not the main event. How do you feel about that?
I don't necessarily like it.
Yeah. It's changed, I think, now the past few years, because especially now because they have two Rumbles. Usually, I think the men's Rumbles, but anyway. Point being, though, this is the third year in the row the Rumble's not the main event, but our main event is Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker for the WWF title in a casket match. A casket match. Yeah.
So I'm going through stats. You can keep talking. First stat I can give you is Royal Rumble. Stone Cold wins at number 24. Stone Cold also has the most eliminations at 6. This is one of the smallest amount of eliminations with 6, which I found interesting. Let's see, Stone Cold, who was the longest entrant? We'll take a look here. Stone Cold was in there for 15 minutes and 58. Farouk was 19. I would have to be The Rock, right? The Rock was in there for 51 minutes and 32 seconds. So, yeah, The Rock is the longest entrant.
Definitely, yep.
And I believe the Tom Brandy or whatever, he would have been the shortest at, you said 12, I think 12 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody beat that.
They did not.
I don't think this Rumble beats any of the records right now. Now we have. See, we have 2 winners at 27. I think this is the first winner at 24. So that stays. Bob Backlund is still the longest entrant at 1 hour, 1 minute, 10 seconds. So that doesn't get beat. Stone Cold has the most eliminations with 10 in a single Rumble. He only had 6 this one, so that doesn't get beat. Mo has the shortest with 3 seconds elimination. That didn't get beat. And now Shawn, Hulk Hogan, and Stone Cold have the most Royal Rumble wins at 2.
There you go. And a little interesting sidebar, and I think part of the reason they did it is so they could have that rapid elimination, especially when Stone Cold came in. But 8 men lasted longer than 25 minutes, which is kind of unusual for the Rumble, too.
Yeah.
But again, I think it was, and we know at the end for sure. Now, I kept time earlier because I was like, there's no way it's 2-minute intervals. It was more like 1:30, but those last 4 guys probably came in a minute apart, if that. Yeah. So it definitely got, it's common math, guys. There's 30 guys, and if they come in every 2 minutes, then the Rumble would have been at least 60 minutes long, and it was only a 55-minute Rumble. So it doesn't take a lot of thinking to realize that they came in at smaller intervals there towards the end. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good Rumble, especially considering the roster may not be the best, but I loved Foley coming in 3 times. I even liked the spot with Triple H and Chyna interfering. And Austin just went nuts in there, which made it very entertaining. And seeing those two face to face at the end and knowing what we're going to experience with The Rock and Austin, it made it a good time. It was a fun Rumble. Not going to complain about it, that's for sure. And we still have our main event.
No, I enjoyed that Rumble quite a bit, actually. In fact, this has been a pretty good Royal Rumble all around, except for one match.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know what my least favorite match of the night is.
We both probably do. And and I can't remember this main event completely, but unfortunately I do remember something not so great about the main event. We'll have to look for the spot. But this is actually, even though he will be at WrestleMania, this is the match where Shawn Michaels breaks his back. And after WrestleMania, we won't see Shawn again for a couple of years. So we're about to not have any sexy boy around for a while.
Oh, jeez. DX is that short?
Well, no, because they continue without Shawn. Remember, Triple H comes out.
No. I'm aware that they... But I thought Shawn and Triple H were together for a lot longer than, 3-4 months?
Well, and they get back together later. But yeah, the initial run,
they do, but I'm talking about the initial run. I didn't
the initial
know
run
that quick.
is not that long, and I'm pretty sure we will know exactly the moment when it happens to Shawn, because it happens when he lands on the casket. So I'm sure we're going to be able to. But there again, talking about Shawn Michaels, this is about to happen, and he's still going to go on in main event. Well, sorry, spoiler alert. He's still going to go to WrestleMania and wrestle another match before he retires for a long time. Like, we're not going to get Shawn back until, gosh, I think that's around 2001 or something when he comes back. He's out for 4 or 5 years. So yeah, we're about to lose Shawn.
Shawn pretty much from the beginning of this pay-per-view watches. That's going to be interesting. No Shawn.
It is. So, all right, so let's do it. Let's check out this main event, this casket match. I wonder if DX will get involved. I mean, I don't remember for sure, but remember, folks, it's a casket match. There's no rules. Just saying, no rules. You just got to get him in the casket and shut the lid. So, let's check it out.
Here's the cover. Hook to the leg. He did it.
All right, here we are, main event time, and it's the championship match, the coffin match, casket match. Sorry, coffin match is AEW. My bad. Casket match between The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, and we actually saw the spot. Shawn got injured really early, and you wouldn't be able to tell. But I know I told you off air that Shawn didn't really feel any pain until probably the next day. But we definitely saw the spot where his back cracked against that casket. It was pretty hard. Yeah, it's not where he wanted to land. So stuff happens. It's just crazy. Because I was with you. I didn't think it was this soon that Shawn was gone. And we're going to get the new version of DX. I didn't think that happened so quickly, but here we are with it because he will be at WrestleMania, and then after that, we're not going to see Shawn again for several years. So crazy to think, but excellent main event. They were going at it right away, fast and furious, right at the beginning. The whole match was high impact, 2 of the best ever, I think, in the sport, and I could probably watch these guys wrestle every day. Like. And they always know how to make their matches different. It's not the same thing every time you see these two guys, but a couple of them couple spots maybe cringe, like that pile driver on the stairs outside.
Oh, yeah, that was...
Now, I could tell Shawn had him in a where he was protected, but still, you watch some of this stuff and it makes you cringe now, because we know things...
Especially after not too long ago, we just watched that happen to Stone Cold, and it was not good.
Yeah. Couple of great spots, though. I mean, Undertaker, the one time he caught Shawn coming off the top, I believe, right? Just caught him in a choke slam, like midair. That was a pretty impressive spot. And I was actually surprised that DX waited. Like, DX, I'm not saying Triple H didn't get involved, but I think I expected them to be more involved than they got.
Yes,
towards the end there,
like, do much.
No, they were pretty much letting him go at it. I mean, the one time that Triple H did attack Undertaker, he was outside, and it was after the pile driver. Which, it's a casket match anyway, so it doesn't matter. There's no DQs. I'm just saying I'm surprised the shenanigans weren't more during the match. It shocked me a little bit, but it was back and forth. I mean, it was cinema at its best. It was storytelling. And I know I'm jumping ahead, but we get to the end where we get like the Yoko thing all over again. Shawn's in the casket. Taker's about to win and close the lid, and Triple H or China, one of them, took the ref out. And then here came the New Age Outlaws, and Los Boricuas. I think that's all that was out there. And the next thing you know,
yeah, I think
right,
so.
it was just the Boricuas and the Outlaws, I think, were the only ones in there.
I believe so.
Next thing you
know, it was
know,
like 6 men, 4 Boricuas, and then
it was not even close to when Yoko won. Like, that was literally the entire locker room when Yoko won. But next thing you know, the music hits, and here comes Kane to save his brother. Now, I remember this Rumble, so I knew he wasn't going to save his brother. But also, I know they fight at WrestleMania, so that's another reason. But I clearly remember this pay-per-view, even the very end. But Kane did come out and clear the ring to make you think he was going to save his brother, but instead he whooped him a little bit, chokeslammed him into the casket, and helped Shawn win. So,
very weak chokeslam, yes.
It was, but some of that stuff, like Shawn did the diving elbow from the top into the casket, like, that's some hard stuff to pull off, I think, trying to go into that casket.
Yeah,
and then
I think they were worried if they would have gone full force that maybe they would have broke the casket.
Go through the casket, yeah, which would probably not be a good thing. There was the spot where Shawn thought he had it won after he hit the Sweet Chin Music, and he was standing on the casket, sprawled like this, and I think he was going to do the suck it, but Taker reached up and tweaked those family jewels a little bit.
Yeah, I just grabbed him.
Little clutch on the family jewels.
Little twist.
Yeah, that But yeah, I mean, it was a great match, and like I said, the fact that Shawn doesn't even realize how bad he's injured right now, you could see bruising those starting like right away.
Yeah, it looked like I noticed the bruise as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch the replay, yeah, his back hit right on the edge of the coffin. I'm sure he was supposed to land flat. I'm guessing he overshot when he got back dropped. I would imagine he was either supposed to miss the casket or land flat backed on the casket, and instead he landed. His back literally hit the edge of the casket on the way down at a very high speed. So that's what takes Shawn out. But luckily, and I'm sure going on to wrestle another match at WrestleMania probably doesn't help either. And I'm guessing he probably wrestled on Raw a couple times between now and WrestleMania. So I'm sure he just kept going, and it wasn't the best idea. But so we're not going to have any Sexy Boy for a while. But I tell you what, when he comes back, we're going to be in for a treat, because I don't know if you've ever seen the match between him and Triple H when he came back. But it's a hell of a match. It's a street fight at SummerSlam. We got years before it happens. But, yeah, pretty intense match. But here again, one of the best ever to do it. Two of the best ever to do it, really, in my opinion. It had a good story. It had a lot of action. And I think it actually worked better waiting until the end to have the locker room come out and all that. I think the less DX involvement worked really well in this match. And there was quite a while where Shawn looked like he was in charge anyway. It was definitely a back and forth, match, and there were a couple times it looked like Shawn could win without the help of D-Generation X. So very well done. Probably one of my favorite casket matches, I would say. I liked it a little better than the Yoko one, because I remember watching when he lost to Yoko live, and it was just like, really, it took 40 guys. It took 40 guys to beat the Undertaker. This is it. So and this started kind of like a repeat of it, but I also like they thought Kane was coming to save him, and they were all like, oh, Kane saved his brother. Like, it was just a really good story all the way. And another great finish. This is like Royal Rumble night of finishers. You know what I'm saying? This is how you finish matches right here. Like, it's another great finish.
Yeah, there was a lot of great finishes. You're right. You're not wrong.
I mean, one finish even saved the match. One finish saved a match that wasn't that good.
Exactly.
Other than the mini-me match, it was good finishers all the way around, and this was highly entertaining. And again, just shows you why Shawn was one of the best, and Taker, in my opinion, too. And of course, we're building. And I see that's the thing too. Like, we have all these pay-per-views now, and I feel like we don't get to build like we used to. I mean, they've been building this Kane Undertaker even before Kane got there. I mean, you're looking probably at almost a year of build-up for this this Kane and Undertaker story. And even planting little seeds, like even back in the day, I'm sure watching this, I probably thought, oh, I bet Shamrock and Rock are going to fight again because it ended in a screwy finish, or LOD's going to get a rematch because it ended like they used to have more time to build stories, and we've kind of lost that these days, especially AEW. Like I said, you just put on a pay-per-view and you have to do another one in a week. Like, you have zero time to build any kind of stories in a week, so I miss the old days of that. So now we know all this time Taker said, I won't fight my brother. I won't fight my brother. I bet he's going to fight him now, ain't he?
I mean,
It cost him the world title.
You already spoiled me on
I did.
whether he fights him or not. So I know he does.
And I guess,
he does indeed fight him.
And isn't it kind of surprising because wrestling's starting to change now? So isn't it kind of shocking we're in 1998 and they still padlocked Taker in the casket, chopped it open with an axe, threw some gas on there, and burned him?
Yes.
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 Nothing like a little murder on TV, you know.
Nothing like some first-degree murder.
Think Sonny's back there taking notes? Oh, too soon? Is that?
Oh.
Sorry, bad taste. Bad taste. You're the heel. I forgot. My bad. Oh boy. Anyway, it was a great way to end the Rumble. I'm not even mad that this was the main event. I do prefer the Rumble to be the main event, but I get it. It might have been hard to. It's all about the crowd, and I think you knew you had something that could. I'm not saying it topped the Rumble match itself, but you knew you had something that would still get the crowd involved and still get them excited. That could go on after the Rumble. So I'm not totally upset about this one, as long as it's good enough, you know. And with it being a casket match too, I mean, it's the Undertaker against Shawn. It's the signature match, so I get it. I get it being the main event, and I'm not mad at it, not at all. It was a good match. No, it was a good match for sure. Maybe one of my I don't know if I like it more than I was going to say maybe one of my favorite matches between these two, but I don't know if I like it more than their Hell in a Cell match. But still a really good match between Undertaker and Shawn, and we know we're not done. We know we haven't even seen the best matches these two are going to have yet, but that's years down the road there. We got a ways.
Indeed.
We got a little while we have to wait, you know. So good main event, good Royal Rumble for sure.
You know what I forgot to do?
Brush your teeth. I don't know. I was just taking a random guess.
I was going to show the European title match.
Oh yeah, because we had talked about that, but yeah, you know,
it's all good.
It's all good, yeah. Because we know now, because we saw Triple H come out with it, we know that we have passed. And I still think it was the Christmas Raw anyway. If you watched the last episode of Raw from 1997, that should be the episode where Shawn laid down for Triple H. Triple H is now the European champion. So, that belt
December 22nd.
Set 22nd. Okay, I knew it was real close to. I just remember it being Christmas themed, so I knew it was real close to the end there. So, and the European title, I think, lasts maybe another year. I don't know if it's gone in 99 or 2000, but the European title had a short lifespan. So, I mean, I thought it was kind of cool at the time, even though it's like, so you have to be from Europe to win this. So I don't know exactly.
Yeah. Wonder when we get the U.S. title.
Not till they buy WCW. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that they took that from.
Oh, I didn't
WCW.
realize that.
Yep, they never had a U.S. title until they bought WCW. And the crazy thing is, which I know we'll get to it again, but since we're talking about the crazy thing is, you know, I told you when they bought WCW, eventually they started unifying championships. Well, they actually had a match to unify the U.S. and the Intercontinental title, and they got rid of the Intercontinental title, believe it or not. It didn't last long, but for a minute there was no Intercontinental title. They unified them and kept the U.S. title instead of the Intercontinental title. So
that's dumb.
Yeah, well, it didn't. Yeah, fans didn't like it. It didn't last long. Then they ended up having them both. But so there you go. No U.S. title until WCW's bought. So, but as far as this goes, it was a good main event. Maybe not their best, but I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. Kane is still just a monster here, and I can't wait to see the brothers fight. That's for sure. And I'm going to give this, and I love the Shawn Michaels. I got to give some love to my co-host, the graphic he found for Shawn. I love that graphic, especially since he's facing the Undertaker. That's like the most fitting graphic you could get right there. But yeah,
I liked it. So used it.
But I'm going to give this, 4 squeezes on the cojones. You know what I'm saying? Like, ouch.
Oh, yeah, this was a good one. I'm going to give this 4.5. Light 'em up. Up, up, up.
Up, up, up. Light 'em up, up. He'll be fine, though. I'm telling you. I think he
He's on fire!
Literally. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, well. We made it through, and I think we got to pick some matches, don't we? Yeah, we got to pick some matches.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
favorite match of the night.
All right, favorite match of the night, and I'm probably taking the easy way out on this one, but I am going to go with the main event, the casket match between Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. It was very entertaining. Two of the best guys ever. Had a great finish, told a great story, and set us up really good for WrestleMania. So yeah, I'm going with Undertaker and Shawn, the casket match.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I think I'm going to go with The Rock. Rock versus Ken Shamrock. I love the ending to that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can't argue that. That was also a great ending. That was a hard-hitting match. It was a really good match. So yeah, that's also
match. It's a great match from the Great One with the best ending of the night. And we had some great endings tonight.
We did, but you're probably right. As far as finishes, that was probably the best one of the night for sure.
I mean, Shawn versus Undertaker was good, but I guess I didn't predict that a bunch of other people would join in and attack Undertaker. But once that happened, I could have predicted Kane. I figured Kane would get involved, and Undertaker lost because of Kane. So it's kind of predictable, even though it was great. It was good. However, The Rock, that was such a good finish, and it was a good match as well. So I'm going to go with The Rock and Shamrock.
Agreed. We can't argue with that. That's for sure. All right, well,
no,
but
never.
There might be a little chance that we agree on the worst match of the night. Small chance.
Maybe we could probably skip it, to be honest with you. But yeah, let's 1 sec. Well, let me get that going.
Let's do it. Let's pick it.
Worst match of the night.
Just kidding. It's whatever, the 6-man tag. It's the worst match of the night. I mean, there's not even a...
Yeah, it's the worst match. It's not just because of who is in it, but the fact that they just waited so long to just set up moves. I mean, that's just bad ring work.
Yeah, again, like we tried to make the point, it doesn't matter that it was little people. If that would have been all grown men doing that crap, and it drives me crazy in modern wrestling, and as much as I like to watch like AEW, they do it all the time. Like, don't do this. I'll catch you. You know, it's just, it's horrible selling, and it makes, it takes away from, like, we all know how this works, but we want to be entertained. Selling that stuff's no different than selling a punch or a pile driver or anything else. Like, you have to sell people, and that match was just, it was bad. It was just everybody wanted to. They all wanted to get their spots in, and they all probably hoped they would get like longer contracts with WWE or whatever. But yeah, it was bad. The best thing about that match, 1998 Sunny. That was the best thing about that match.
So. Yes, that's true.
Easy win. All right.
Easy breezy, beautiful cover girl.
Cover girl. Interesting side note, which I don't think I ever told you this, but when we first started recording, it took me a minute to figure out this graphic and why you had the Undertaker on worst match of the night until I realized it was the Undertaker match, and then it made sense. But I'm just saying, like, the first time I saw that graphic, I'm like, why does he have the Undertaker on worst match of the night?
Because it's Undertaker versus Undertaker.
It's Undertaker under Faker.
Shit.
Yeah, and it was horrible. It was. We saw fake Undertaker in the Rumble, by the way. DOA member there now, so yeah. Anyway, that's either here or there. It's time to rank the Rumbles.
Royal Rumble rankings.
All right, so it's time to rank the Royal Rumbles, and this is the 10th one, correct? Yes, this is Royal Rumble 10.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yes, sorry.
I'm even holding it up on the
right, because it's on our graphic. Yes, so we've had 10 of them, and I am going to rank from worst to first. So here we go. At number 10, I have the original Royal Rumble. At 9, I have 8. At 8, I have 2. At 7, I have Royal Rumble 3. 6, I have 4. 5, I have Royal Rumble 6. And 4th place is 7. 3rd place, 5. In 2nd place, Royal Rumble 9. And this Royal Rumble 10, is now my number 1 Rumble.
Interesting. Because I have Royal Rumble 8 at 10. The first one at 1. Wow, I put something below 1. But Royal Rumble 2 at 8. 4 at 7. 3 at 6th place. 7 at 5th place. 6 at 4th place. 5th at 3rd place. 9 at 2nd. And I also have this as my number 1 Royal.
Look at that. What do you know? Hey, but overall, I mean, you can't, with all the great finishes and stories and a couple of great matches, I mean, yeah, this was a good Rumble. Even though maybe the entrants in the actual Rumble weren't all the best, but hey, it's the roster at the time, right? So what can you do?
They did what they did, and this also gave us the 3 Faces of Foley, which I still remember to this day.
Yep.
Like, I barely remember this Rumble, but I remember this. I probably kind of remember, now that I've seen it, kind of remember Shawn Michaels or Kane burning Undertaker.
Yeah,
I feel like
you've probably seen that video too more than once. Yeah, definitely an historic moment there. All right, well, we did it. We are back. We made it through a show.
We did it.
We picked matches and we ranked the Rumbles, and now we get to plug some pluggables.
We have to?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to plug your pluggables. If you
I'm
want
kidding.
To,
I'm kidding.
Don't follow him anywhere. Just worry about our show. No,
yeah, that's right.
Joking.
You can follow me at Dragon Blazer Productions on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. You can, on TikTok.
TikTok.
You can also follow me on Twitter at Dragon Blazer Pro. I also have started doing my weekly wrestling show. I call it Dragon Blazer Wrestling. Blaze and Boomer Blaze. We are a stable called RBB.
There you go.
So we are on there. We're all in some cool makeup. We all have like colored themes. They will be on tonight's show. They were not on the first show because my first show I have I started a tournament, okay, for the World Championship. And I want to focus on our stable as like tag team. Our stable is going to be a tag team stable, so I'm not looking for our characters as of right now to break out as, single star, you know what I mean?
Gotcha, yeah.
So we weren't on the first one because I did 4 tournament matches, and then the main event was a 8-man battle royale for the Dark Knight Championship. My first pay-per-view is going to be after the 4th episode of Dragon Blazer Wrestling Slayer. It's going to be I'm going to Twitch it every Wednesday night, and then I'll put it on the YouTube page. I kind of wanted to talk to you, and I was debating on it, but I haven't decided. I did not put it on our YouTube page. I put it on my Dragon Blazer Gaming YouTube page. So I'm trying to focus that on the games and stuff. I wasn't sure if I really wanted to clutter our YouTube page with this.
Right.
So I'll probably just stick with it on It's called Dragon Blazer Gaming. That's where I put my video game videos and stuff like that. I didn't even put it on my main Dragon Blazer site. Maybe I should. I don't know. But it is kind of an extension of the Boomer and Blaze show. I kind of wish we were not, we didn't have jobs and we could, you could just join me on these Twitch streams. That way we could do on-air commentary on the Twitch stream of the pay-per-views or of these matches. But, that's a lot of time.
Yeah. Till we get that hush money, that's
until we get that hush money.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of doing it myself, and I'm not really doing much commentating. I figured, there is an in-game commentating on the game. You can listen to that. I do kind of get on there and I talk about, the matches and kind of give a little preview of what we're going to go with. Tonight's episode is going to have 4 more tournament matches. There are 8 preliminary matches or whatever. And then we'll face them off in the next week and the next week. And then the two top players or wrestlers will be in the Cell Games pay-per-view. I'm also on the Cell Games pay-per-view. That's gonna be where the tag titles are originally gonna be defended, or not defended, tried to be won. There will be a fatal 4-way tag team match, which Boomer and Blaze will be in. There'll be a fatal 4-way tag team match between 4 different teams that I've created. But it's all created. I created a bunch of wrestlers. I think there's 23 wrestlers on the show right now. I'll eventually create more. I haven't added any female wrestlers yet because I want to create enough of a roster of female wrestlers. And then I do plan on having probably the pay-per-view before WrestleMania. I do plan on having a all-women's pay-per-view. I really love that Evolution pay-per-view that WWF did one time. And and I would I think that would be cool to have that as a thing on my show, an all-women's pay-per-view. But I haven't started creating the women, so that pay-per-view has not been slighted. I've actually created pay-per-views for almost every month. And each one of them, a lot of them are kind of geek themed. Cell Games is from Dragon Ball Z. I have a pay-per-view for X-Men called Danger Room. I have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles themed pay-per-view called Shell Shocked. I like that one. I think I called my WrestleMania is called Wrestle War. If I remember right, that's the name I chose. It's actually not nerd themed. It is our WrestleMania. The SummerSlam is a Friday the 13th inspired Camp Crystal Lake arena. There's a Halloween pay-per-view. I can't remember what I called it. But yeah, I'm going to have different pay-per-views on the show. Part of me is debating on skipping so I can actually have the actual dates. But right now I'm right after WrestleMania.
Gotcha.
Because that's where it starts. Payback is technically their first pay-per-view, but I've created a bunch of different stuff. So, I don't know. I may skip it so I can actually have the October pay-per-view in October. But right now I'm going towards Cell Games. I don't know if I'm going to bother trying to go ahead. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, it's on Dragon Blazer Gaming YouTube page, and it will be live on Twitch. It will be live tonight at 10 o'clock. My Twitch stream is Dragon Blazer Productions, just like everything else.
There you go. Make sure you check that out for sure.
I say all this and kind of forgot that this doesn't air until Saturday. So that Twitch stream will probably be on my YouTube page. The next Wednesday after this is released,
he forgot this
there'll be another episode.
This post in the future. He forgot for a second. That's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I forgot.
All right, well, good stuff. Of course, if you want to follow the show, we have the wonderful Boomer and Blaze Show Facebook page. You can also follow us at Boomer_Blaze on Instagram and the Twitter. And yes, we still call it Twitter, even though I know it's an X now. But anyway, and you can follow us at Boomer and Blaze Show on the TikTok, which, by the way, I know it's small compared to a lot of TikTokers, but we are up to almost 170 followers on the TikTok. How about that, huh? How about that? Hopefully with some of my new content, like I said, I'm going to start showing off some of my collection, some of my belts, shirts, and things like that, and do more previews like I used to do about the upcoming episodes. So check it out on TikTok, spread the word, and check us out everywhere else. But yeah, so we have watched, we have picked, we have plugged, we have ranked. I think we made it through an episode. And it was so good to be back. Again, we apologize. Life happens. Hopefully we'll be back next week. We should be. I don't see any reason why not. And next week, we're going back to the old school. It's NWA. We're going to have Starrcade 84 next week for you. Yes, our second Starrcade, our second NWA pay-per-view. And, of course, when they first started out, they only had one. So it's only going to be Starrcade, I think, till, I can't remember exactly, 86 maybe? Something like that, 87. So
I think 86 sounds about right.
That's about right. So
I'm curious, just like I was curious of the original WrestleManias, like how long before they start adding better graphic? Like we didn't even have an intro to the first Starrcade. It was just
it just went right into it.
Match.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Ric Flair was the only one that got a full entrance with the music and everything too. So it's a different time,
Which it took a little while for that on WrestleManias too.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So, all right. Well,
and this actually was like years before WrestleMania, so
that's true. That's true.
It's probably going to be a minute.
Yeah. All right. Well, don't forget to join us next week. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media is going to have new content coming out soon. So, until next week, this has been the Boomer and Blaze Show. I am Boomer.
And I'm Blaze.
And good night from Dragon Blazer Studios.
Hey everyone, this is Blaze from the Ragin' Blaze and the Boomer and Blaze Show. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more wrestling content.